that is most important. 95% of time should go in academics, 5% in how to do those academics, right? Okay. So don't worry, everyone will remember everything very soon. Before the exam, everyone will remember. So let us start day one. We have 2 days to cover whole PSM course in a crash course form. Let us start with first topic, epidemiology. Now I will I will keep on asking questions. You keep on answering in the chat box. Chat box will be alive again and again. It will be an interactive class. So let's do the crash course. What is epidemiology? Any notes you can use, Dr. Fire, whichever you have been using earlier. Any notes? Quick revision, mission videos. Mission video notes are best if you have attended the live classes earlier. So this is epidemiology. Very right. Among people study. Can you tell me what do we study among people? Very right. We study diseases. Epidemiology is the study of diseases. We study their distribution, determinants, frequency. Can anyone remind me who gave this definition? This definition of epidemiology was given by epidemiologist John M. Last. Yes, Dr. Samiksha, you are right. Dr. Tushar, you are right. Messages are moving very fast because a lot of students are there today. So Dr. John M. Last gave this definition. Distribution, time distribution, we can say almost similar to seasonal. Can you tell me 5, 10 examples of time or seasonal distribution if it comes in your paper? This is the first slide only. We have just discussed definition of epidemiology. Yes, we have good examples like malaria, dengue, mosquito breeding maximum in rainy season. So cases start increasing in June, July, August, September in our country. Very right. Diarrheal diseases, typhoid, cholera, which are more common in rainy season because of contamination, more chance of food or water. Respiratory diseases, measles, rubella, chickenpox. What about COVID-19, friends? Is it a time or a seasonal distribution of a disease? COVID-19. Answer is no. So COVID is not, HIV is not, diabetes is not, non-communicable chronic diseases like coronary heart disease, cancers are not. Road traffic accident is. Asthma is. So we have discussed all these examples. Think of the common diseases, think of the common epidemiology. Place distribution, also known as geographical distribution. Can you give me few good examples of diseases which are more common in a particular geographical place? Very right, Japanese encephalitis. Which part of the country J is found? Which part of the country J is found? All the rice growing states of India. Rice growing states of India. So whole east, even a lot of northeast, southern part and southwestern part also. Kalazar, very common in eastern part of India. We'll come to those. Age distribution. Can you tell me few examples of diseases which are more common in a particular age group? What is the age group for measles, friends? Rheumatic fever. Let us see which have been asked in your paper. Mumps. Measles is very right, more common in 6 months to 3 years. Rheumatic fever is 5 to 15 years, very right. And mumps is most commonly seen in. I'm looking at your chat box continuously. Everyone is answering correctly. So wherever any concept come, I will slow down. Mumps is more common in. Dr. Ronak is right. School going age 5 to 9 years. Now I'm reminded of an older question of AIMS INI-CT. Which age group Japanese encephalitis is common in India? All these are questions only what are written on the screen. Yes, it is 5 to 15 years. 5 to 15 years in the country. Just like you can say this rheumatic fever, but let's make it slightly more correct. This disease has a potential of affecting all children once they cross infancy. 1 to 15 year will be a slightly better answer. Sex distribution. Diseases which are distributed in sexes. Can you tell me which diseases are more common in either male or female? Okay, let's do it in different way. Can you tell me diseases which are more common in female sex? Okay, breast cancer, HIV. No, we have discussed in class, friends, cervical cancer cannot be a correct answer. Cervical cancer is not more common in females. Cervical cancer is only seen in females. Sex distribution. A disease is distributed in sexes unequally. So breast cancer, 99% cases in females, we have to remember, right? HIV, more common in females. Then thyroid disorders, depression, gallstones, many diseases are there. Migraine. What about males? Diseases which are more common in males, distribution wise. Yes, even hypertension, cataract in females. Males, it is, yes, lung cancer, oral cancer, stomach cancer, road traffic accidents. They are higher in males. So good common diseases will be asked as examples. Now, when we look at this distribution of disease, now quickly tell me, if I draw in front of you, suppose, let us say, okay, this part of the country in color, can you tell me which disease are we talking of? No, hypertension is more common in females. We have discussed that it is more common in later part of life. Females have higher life expectancy. So hypertension is more in females. Yes, very right. This is Japanese encephalitis. We discussed rice growing states of the country. Now suppose, friends, same question. If they ask you by giving you, let us say, this in darkest color and other part of India in lighter color. So let me circle it for you. It becomes easy. This is, which disease are we talking of? Good. This is malaria. This is malaria. East and Northeast India, highest malaria prevalence and number of cases. Now friends, suppose same diagram they give you. Look carefully. Which part I am going to color is this part, and I'm coloring this part. Of course, you should know the geography of India, right? Which state is located where? This is geographical distribution of which disease? Good. This is HIV. It as we have discussed 7 high prevalence states in the country. These are Maharashtra, Andhra, Telangana, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, 4 states in southern India, Manipur, Mizoram, Nagaland in northeast India. So this is distribution of HIV. I'm only telling you those diseases whose distribution has been asked in our papers, right? And finally, if you are asked by showing color in these states, maybe few cases here and there, then which disease are we talking of? Very right. This is Kala Azar. It is mainly seen in eastern part of country, 4 states, right? So UP, Bihar, West Bengal, Jharkhand, having sandfly as the vector, Kala Azar, right? So geographical distribution of common diseases, JE, malaria, HIV, Kala Azar. If by chance examiner is showing you, let us say, the whole country in color, let us say, and by that he uses darker color in 2 parts of our country. This is, yes, COVID, right? So COVID-19, southern and western India, Maharashtra, Kerala, highest prevalence even today. So this is geographical or a place distribution of a disease. Yes, first case was from Thrissur, 2020. Age group. Just to quickly remind what is asked in the paper, can you tell me what is the age of a child in our country and which specific program is dedicated to them? So age group of children in our country, yes, everyone is correct barring few students. It is 0 to 18 years. This is legal, reproductive and child health program definition also, legal definition also, WHO definition also. And yes, it is Rashtriya Bal Swasthya Karyakram. Adolescent is, please remember friends, we are only discussing what has been asked in your exam in last 20 years. No, not 0 to 19. 0 to 19 कैसे हो जाएगा? Yes, very right, Dr. Himanshu, Dr. Karan, you are right. 10 to 19 years. Dedicated health program for adolescents in our country. is Rashtriya Kishore Swasthya Karyakram. We'll discuss in health programs. Which is perinatal period? Perinatal means around natality, around delivery. So something before delivery to something after delivery. Very right. It is 28 weeks period of gestation in India till 7 days post delivery. See, questions format will keep on changing. They'll make lengthy questions, but ultimately they are going to ask only from these basics. Please remember. Period of viability. How will you assess a dead-born fetus is abortion or stillbirth? It is based on period of gestation cutoff. 28 weeks. More than this is stillbirth. Less than this is abortion if it is a dead-born child. Or birth weight. Cutoff is 1000 grams. Or if birth weight is not available, we can also use birth length cutoff of 35 centimeters. Yes, you are right. Can you tell me which is the most sensitive criterion out of all these? If I have to mark one answer. Very right. Birth weight is most sensitive. Right, good. Epidemiological studies classification. Okay, again, as I always tell you in the class, I forgot to remind you, do not look at the notes and answer. You will not be allowed to carry notes inside the examination hall. So go back to your memory. You will find it is more easy to rely on your memory rather than notes. Where should I classify a cohort study? Where should I classify a cohort study, friends? Descriptive, analytical, or experimental? Yes, analytical. Now suppose it is a multiple response answer. Can you tell me? Cohort study can also be a type of descriptive also. So descriptive studies are used for making a hypothesis. So hypothesis formulation. Analytical studies are for hypothesis testing. And experimental are for hypothesis confirmation. Directly question comes in the paper, all are analytical studies except, all are experimental studies except. Now, when you make a hypothesis by descriptive epidemiology, you can do any study design, cohort, case control, but actually cohort, case control, cross-sectional and ecological, they are mainly analytical type of studies. But please remember, if it is a multiple response, they can be used as a small descriptive study also. But if you have to choose one answer, they are more used as analytical studies. Only sometimes in small quantum of sample size, they are used in descriptive study. Otherwise, when we use any study in descriptive, we use to make this hypothesis in time, place, and person. Experimental studies will include your trials, RCT, randomized controlled trial, community trial, field trial, and clinical trial. So trial is when you are trying to give some intervention or experiment that will confirm your hypothesis. So it's so logical. First, you make a hypothesis. Then you test it by using any one of these 4 study designs. And once you have tested, you find some answer. Before you tell the population, you have to confirm it by any one trial, right? Now, again, we are trying to combine both NEET PG and INICT together. If I am a NEET PG aspirant, I will focus on these 6. If I'm a INICT aspirant, beside these 6, they will ask you mixed study designs. They will ask you meta-analysis. They will ask you evidence-based medicine. So we'll come to that gradually. Now look at this. Can you tell me this is which particular study design? Yes, this is a case control study. Actually, there are 3 clues in the photograph. This is the first one. And we are going in a backward direction. You can see also. Everything is written in the image. Case control, We are looking backward in period or time.
Diagnose.
And third clue is study starts here along with cases and control. Look at the direction of the arrow. Then it is growing from disease to exposure. This is case control study. How it is different from, can anyone tell me how it is different from cohort study? Cohort study is in a forward direction, So we start with exposed, non-exposed. Think of any example like we took smoking. Smokers, non-smokers today. We wait for 15-20 years and then we see how many of them develop lung cancer in both the groups and compare. Now, quickly to see how many of us remember correctly. First question, in a cohort study, how do you calculate your results? Strength of association between exposure and outcome is calculated by, see, when you answer relative risk, suppose I say your answer is wrong. Why I'm saying your answer is wrong? Because you have not read the other choices. It may be a multiple response answer also. Answer is actually there are three strengths of association. So when I ask a question, what is the strength of association in a cohort study is given by, your answer should be RR, AR, PR. All three you should know. And out of them, relative risk formula, incidence in exposed by non-exposed, attributable risk, incidence in exposed minus non-exposed upon exposed into 100, population attributable risk, incidence in total minus incidence in non-exposed upon incidence in total into 100. How many of you were able to mark without looking at notes all the three formulae correctly? Total PSM is around 30-32 formulae. So Dr. Rohan, Dr. Astha, if you, Dr. Suki, if you have been able to remember these three, I'm sure that you will be able to remember all the 25-30 formulae. Trust me, 5 to 6 calculations may come in NEET PG. 5 to 6 may come. IMR, MMR, relative risk, and few from biostatistics and 1 or 2 from demography also, right? So keep those in mind. 5 to 6 years is a slightly higher number, but let's consider that calculations may be asked because last two papers they have asked. Quickly tell me the interpretation. If relative risk is 8, it implies relative risk 8 means smokers have 8 times higher chance as compared to non-smokers for development of lung cancer. Incidence of disease in exposed is 8 times higher in exposed as compared to non-exposed. Whenever your relative risk is more than 1, association is present. Equal to 1, no association. And less than 1, protective. Smoking ulcerative colitis will show. Smoking ulcerative colitis will show. Relative risk less than 1. Milk consumption and lung cancer will show. Milk consumption and lung cancer will show. No association. No, not 0. Please mark it as 1, not 0. No association is equal to 1. So please be very careful with these choices. And if suppose you are asked, now to even government has accepted Covishield and thromboembolism. Covishield and thromboembolism is more than 1, right? So recently it appeared in reports that yes, there is a higher incidence of thromboembolism. So government is also seriously or surreptitiously attending these lectures, right? Okay, so they know, everyone knows everything. So relative risk is 8. Attributable risk 88% implies. Attributable risk 88%. What is the meaning? How much of the disease can be attributed to risk factor? Very right, Dr. Rohan Tyagi. 88% of lung cancer can be attributed to smoking. 12% is due to some other risk factor. Population attributable risk, suppose it comes 77%, it implies anyone? Because this is a very peculiar answer. Yes, Dr. Digitalis is right. 77% reduction in incidence of new cases of lung cancer if risk factor smoking is modified or eliminated. Wonderful. So I'll again repeat, relative risk, how many times disease is more common? Attributable risk. How much of the disease is due to risk factor? Population attributable risk. If risk factor is removed, how much reduction of incidence will occur every year? 77% will decrease. What is absolute risk? What is excess risk? What is risk difference? What is the answer, friends? All three are attributable risk. Which is the single best strength of association in a cohort study? Single answer I have to mark. It is relative risk. Simplest to calculate, most accurate measure, easy to understand even by a layperson, right? So cohort study, you will be given a study design. You may be asked to identify the design. You may be asked to calculate strength of association. Formula you will have to remember. Calculation, interpretation will not be a difficult thing. If you get stuck in interpretation, friends, I will suggest read all the choices carefully. That will help you decide, right? Okay. How do we calculate strength of association in case control study? Because we don't have incidence, we are going in a backward direction. Very right, odds ratio. So what is your formula of odds ratio? Can I say AC by BD? Is this correct? What is on the screen, is this correct? No. So very right, it is AD by BC. And where will we get this A, B, C and D from? This is from a 2x2 table for case control study. So you know disease always on top of a table, even in a case control study, even in a screening test table. And we have history of the risk factor you are studying. When you ask that history, whether it is present or absent will go here. Then this is your A, this is your B, C and D. You simply have to do a cross multiplication. So odds ratio is also known as cross product ratio. Can anyone tell me relative risk is also known as? What is the other name of relative risk? Risk ratio. Very right. So synonyms are the key. Cohort studies forward prospective cost to effect. Case control is opposite. Retrospective backward looking study. Right? Okay. Now friends, beside asking formula, they can directly ask you to calculate. All of you are having mobiles in your hands. Can you calculate the strength of association in this study design? First, you tell me, is it a cohort study or a case control study? By looking at the table only. Is it a cohort study or a case control study? This is a case control study. Why you are saying like that? Why it is a case control study? Because you can see this is history. Please be very careful. They can give you data of cohort study also in a table, right? Please be very careful. Then you will have to calculate incidence in exposed, incidence in non-exposed. But they are saying used, never used. That means they are talking of the past history. So now you have to calculate. Can you quickly calculate what is the strength of association? That is odds ratio. This is your A, B, C, and D. Okay, Dr. Shazia is right. It will come 1.0222. Can anyone tell me what is the interpretation of 1.0222? Please use these words in your interpretation. Please use these words in your interpretation. Then I will understand that you have actually understood the concept. Use these words in your interpretation. Okay, very right. Many of you are right. Friends, please remember 1.0222. This is almost 1. So bladder cancer has almost no association with use of sweetener in the past. So please remember, right? So don't say it 1.0222 times higher, because if it is only 1.0222 times higher, then let us all consume sweetener because they are very sweet, right? Okay. So please remember it as actual no association, right? So almost no association. 1.2 nahi hai. It is, yes, if it is 1.2, definitely association is present. It is 1.02, which is very minor or very small association. even that could be wrong. Why that could be wrong? Yes, you can say slightly increase. You can say slightly increase chances. But generally, when you get studies where odds ratio comes 5, 10, 15, 20, then 1.02 is generally not. Yes, one of the biggest problem with case control studies, recall bias, or if matching has not been done properly. What does matching remove? What does matching remove, friends? 9.98 is very, very good odds ratio. Definitely is so many times. Confounding. What is the best method for removal of confounding? What is the best method for removal of confounding? Single answer. Stratified randomization. Absolutely. Stratified randomization. Can you identify which study design is shown in this image? Read everything on this slide. Okay, some are saying cohort study, some are saying retrospective cohort. Both cannot be correct because when you say cohort, it actually implies most of the times prospective cohort. But some are saying retrospective. Look at this. Your study has actually started here. That means it has started with disease, but it is not going in the backward direction. Look at the direction of arrows. Look at the direction of arrows. You can see that it is still going in forward direction. So you are starting with disease, but still we are going in a forward direction. How it is possible? This is a retrospective cohort study. Actually, you don't start with the disease. You don't even look at the disease. What we do, first we go back in time, let's say 15, 20 years before, find out exposure, non-exposure. Where will you find this exposure, non-exposure from? This is found from hospital records, OPD slips, case sheets that we make in hospital. Choose exposure, non-exposure at that time. Then go in a forward direction till today and see how many of them have developed the disease. This will help you find out incidence in exposed, incidence in non-exposed. What is the, yes, confounding is prevented by matching also, but best is stratified randomization, Dr. Pramit. Now it is also giving you relative risk. Why it is better than prospective cohort study? Yes, Dr. Shabnam is right. It saves your time. I am currently in 2025. If I start this study today with exposure, non-exposure, I will have to go forward 15 years. So what I do? I first check exposure, non-exposure, not from history. If you take history, it will become case control. So by hospital records, I find 100 smokers, non-smokers 15 years ago. Let's say in the year 2010. And then I come forward and see how many have developed the disease. Retrospective cohort study. Case control, you take disease, non-disease, and ask history. Here we don't look at case. First we go back and find exposure, non-exposure, then come in forward direction, right? Okay. This is which study design? Asked in your exam also. This is a nested case control study. Now, nested case control study is actually a combination of both cohort and case control. But if you have to mark a single answer, it is mainly a type of, what is a better answer? Yes, cohort study. And what is the reason it is mainly a type of cohort study? Yes, forward direction. What is forward direction also known as? Yes, Dr. Shriram is right. It is because it has a temporality. Temporal association is established in this particular study design. Now let's try to understand. This nested case control study is generally used for a new and rare disease. So suppose you start this study today, 2000, let us say 25. Look at the direction of the arrow. We first go in a forward direction. We keep on moving forward. Let us suppose today you have taken 10,000 people, their data and specimen. Specimen, you refrigerate after proper labeling in the refrigerator -20 degree, urine, blood, or any other stem cell sample. History data you can scan and store it in computer. Now you keep on moving forward for 5 year, 10 year, 15 year, 20 year. When will you stop? When a new rare disease occurs. Suppose after, let us say 20 years, in 2045, 100 people develop a new rare disease. So 9,900 will be healthy. So now we have 100 cases, and from healthy you can take controls. Can you tell me ideally how many controls should I take? No, 100, no, that is not correct. Dr. Astha is right. Ideally, you should take 400 controls. Please remember, the best ratio of cases and controls to be taken is 1:4. If it is not possible, then make it 1:3. Not possible, 1:2. Not possible, minimum should be 1:1. But ideally, it should be 1:4 if possible. Okay, suppose you take 100, 100 or 100, 400. Now look at the direction of the arrow. Now go back in time and compare their history and specimens. Any difference you find, that could be a risk factor. So look carefully. You are first going in a forward direction for 20 years. When disease occur, you come back and do a small case control study by comparing the history or the blood specimen. So a small case control study nested in a very big cohort study. A small case control study of 500 people nested in a big cohort study of 10,000 people. So this is mainly a cohort study. Because if I ask you to start this study today, even then you will have to spend 20 years of your life. So case control immediately finishes. But if I ask you to do a nested case control study, you are waiting for 20 years, then a small case control you are doing. So this is, yes, normal case control also 1:4. Here also, if possible, 1:4. So this is mainly a type of cohort study. But if choices are like this, it is actually a combination of both. A small element of case control, right? Now, can you tell me, look at these 5 study designs. Can you tell me which study design is which? What is study design number 1? Study design number 1. No, if you say cohort study, many of them are cohort studies. Yes, this is a prospective cohort. You are here. 2025, take smokers, non-smokers, go for 15 years forward, disease will occur. So this is prospective cohort. What is study number 2? This is case control. You are here, 2025. Take lung cancer disease and healthy people and ask history of smoking 15 years ago. Backward looking retrospective odds ratio. Look at study number 3 that we have just discussed. This is retrospective cohort. You are here, 2025. Even disease has taken place, but you don't look at disease. The moment you start with disease, it will become case control. So what you do, you today don't look at the disease. First you go back, find out hospital records, exposure, non-exposure, come in current direction. So this is retrospective cohort. Study number 4. You have done retrospective cohort. Someone takes your study further for another 5 years. Someone has added a prospective component to this. This is mixed cohort. And study number 5 that we have just discussed, nested case control, how you are here. You only have data and specimen, put it in refrigerator. You keep on moving forward for 10-20 years. When a new rare disease occurs, then you come back to that time, that is today 2025, when you store the data and specimen and check them. This is a nested case control study. How question will come in your NEET, PG and INI-CT? They will describe a study design in 5-6 sentences. Please read them very carefully. You know the answer, you know the concept, so why in a hurry? Even if you feel this question is taking 1 minute 20 seconds, it is absolutely fine, right? Read the question properly, you will find it is very easy. Generally, in such lengthy questions, they give you two clues. So they will somewhere make a mention that we have used hospital records. Okay, retrospective cohort study. We have asked history. Okay, it is case control, right? Someone is taking your retrospective data and taking forward mixed. We are studying a new rare disease in the population, and when disease occur, we come back and study them. This is nested case control, right? So try to visualize these arrows in your mind when a study design comes to you. 100% question will come from a study design. In NEET PG, 100% it will come, right? This is with study design. Although this diagram has never been asked, but we should know this is a type of meta-analysis. What is actually meta-analysis, anyone? This is defined as analysis of analysis. So what is this analysis of analysis? Analysis of multiple studies together. Multiple studies together. So one study can give you good result, but suppose on the same risk factor in disease, there are 20 studies. 20 studies combined result is likely to be more accurate. Very right. Can you tell me any disadvantage of meta-analysis? Advantage, we know it will be more accurate result. Yes. One is GIGO. What is GIGO? Garbage in, garbage out. If you take weak studies, if you take studies in which matching was not done properly, if you take studies in which sample size was not calculated properly, if you take studies in which incidence of disease was not evaluated properly, ultimately your final result will also come wrong. So garbage in, garbage out. If you select politicians like we select, then garbage in, garbage out will occur. Then what is apples and oranges effect? See, meta-analysis, suppose I ask you to do a meta-analysis of cohort study. You find 40 cohort studies on smoking and lung cancer. You combine their results, which is mathematically possible. It will give a very good result. But we know these 40 studies have been done in different parts of our country or different countries of the world. They may have different types of environment. They may have different sample sizes, different investigator, their particular individual biases. So this is apples and oranges effect. You are trying to include them, but we have no other option. This becomes a disadvantage. Ideally, we want all the 40 studies should have same sample size, same investigator, which we know is not possible, right? Okay. Then third problem is publication bias. Can anyone tell me what is the other name of publication bias? If some study has never been published, how will you include its results? Some study was not completed. Yes, good. That is known as file drawer effect. Can anyone tell me why it is known as file drawer effect? Yes, Dr. Chitrangi is right. When you open a drawer to take out file for your study, if some file is already not there, right, it has been issued by some other of your friend who wants to score more in NEET PG has taken to his hostel room, you will never study that study, right? So this is a file drawer effect. All the files may not be present in the drawer, also known as, Dr. Meteor is right, systematic heterogeneity. How do we assess this publication bias, anyone? How do we assess this publication bias, anyone? It is by funnel plot. Funnel plot. Good. So that will come later, right? Okay. What is this diagram known as? This is evidence-based medicine pyramid. All the studies that we use in epidemiology, we can organize in a pyramid form. And which study design is best in epidemiology? Best study, most accurate study, most superior study. It is always and always meta-analysis. So let's indicate by another color. If you cannot do meta-analysis due to some reason, what should you prefer? Systematic review. Number two, If you cannot do systematic review, RCT, cohort study, case control study, right? Okay. Which is the worst study design in epidemiology? Without, okay, you can look at the diagram, it is in front of you. Which is the best meta-analysis? Which is the worst? Worst is in vitro research. Finding something in petri dish or test tube may not always give good results, right? Animal studies are better, clinical experience is better, but ultimately it is meta-analysis which is going to establish. Father of evidence-based medicine, Ames asked only one family member, that is, yes, David Lawrence Sackett. David Lawrence Sackett, father of evidence-based medicine. Who is father of medicine? Who is father of medicine? It is Hippocrates, right? This is INICT question. Yes, this is natural history of disease. Anyone, what is the meaning of natural history of disease? Natural history of disease is, yes, progression of a disease without intervention. So if you don't try to treat a person, what will happen? Will he die? Will he develop disability? Or will he spontaneously recover? Like when we look at natural history of COVID-19, 99% people recovered on their own. Only 1% died. Case fatality rate is 1%. Now look at this diagram and suppose I make these 4 points A, B, C, and D. Question was, at which point symptoms will appear? At which point symptom will appear in this diagram? Yes, clinical stage means appearance of signs and symptoms. So answer is B for Bombay. So this was asked again in INICT paper. And if you look at the complete diagram, this is what they were asking. Onset of symptoms definitely will occur between subclinical and clinical. This is the major difference, right? So this is natural history of disease. What is this diagram known as? This total diagram is known as? This total diagram is known as, friends, same, natural history of disease. Now you can see once disease starts, it can keep on progressing, illness, disability, chronicity, and death. But luckily for majority of diseases, there are spontaneous recovery, even without treatment. Can you tell me in tuberculosis, I think we mentioned somewhere in the class, in tuberculosis, without treatment, how many people will recover spontaneously? Is it 0%? In tuberculosis, without treatment, studies have shown how many people recover spontaneously. 90%. How it is possible here? If 90% people can recover spontaneously in TB, then TB will no longer be a problem in this world, right? I'm asking if someone develops TB, recovery spontaneous is 25%, which is also very, very high. And luckily it is quite high, 25%. What is this arrow representing? What is this arrow representing? एक भी क्वेश्चन में नोट से बाहर पूछ लेता हूं ना तो सब आंसर गलत हो जाते हैं, फिर क्वेश्चन ही सुनाई नहीं देता किसी को. दिस इज यस एपिडेमियोलॉजिकल ट्रायड. Why it is not a triangle? Can anyone tell me, friends, why it is not a triangle? Anyone? Very right, good. There is no time in the center. In advanced model of epidemiological triangle, causative agent is replaced by, in advanced model, causative agent is replaced by causative factor or risk factor. Different answers we are getting. Both are in the different choices. Causative agent is replaced by causative factor, not risk factor. Please be very careful, right? Okay. Okay, let me ask you this question in another way. Suppose this is one, this is second, this is, suppose I label them as A, B, C, D. Can you tell me in which part, look carefully, secondary level of prevention is applicable? Majority are saying C, but many students are saying D. Look carefully. Look carefully. It is C, very right. C, primordial, before risk factor. Primary risk factor is present, but disease has not yet occurred. But once disease starts, when we have clinical signs and symptoms, now you can diagnose and treat. But once disability you want to prevent, you go to tertiary level of prevention. So this actually natural history of disease diagram tells you 4 levels of prevention that we will discuss shortly today, right? Okay. This is which theory of disease causation? Web of causation. Who gave this web of causation? Yes, McMahon and Cook. Now, why it is not? Why it is not multifactorial causation? Anyone? Why it is not multifactorial causation, friends? Because that may also be given in the choice. Yes, Dr. Meteor is right. In multifactorial causation, multiple factors cause a disease. Here also multiple factors are causing the disease, but they are also related to each other like a spider's web. What is the major purpose of web of causation? Can I say finding the multiple risk factors which affect a disease? Web of causation tells you multiple factors which can affect a disease. No, rather it tells you the possible points of interventions. Dr. A is right. Possible points of intervention. So no doubt it is telling you what are the multiple factors which can cause a disease. But more importantly, it tells you what are the possible points of intervention. Okay, so if we can prevent smoking, heart disease can be prevented, right? So this is the importance of web of causation. Multifactorial causation concept was given by, yes, weak and strong links also we can identify, absolutely. Multifactorial causation was given by Pettenkofer. Germ theory of disease was given by Louis Pasteur. Aristotle gave the oldest concept of disease causation, which was that Aristotle gave spontaneous generation theory, right? Very right. This is a spot map. I am asking you 5-6 questions from spot map. Try to answer. Who used it? Which disease? Type of study design? Type of epidemiology? And what does spot map represent? 5 questions. Very right. First used by John Snow for the disease cholera in London. So without knowing the causative agent or route of transmission, he was able to find out more cases are clustered in this region. Shut down this hand pump, disease was controlled. Yes, this is a natural experiment study design, which we don't do nowadays, but this study design was known as natural experiment study design. And type of epidemiology. Yes, this is shoe leather or gumboots epidemiology. Shoe leather gumboots epidemiology is where investigator himself goes and collects data. This is similar to such type of data is also known as primary data in cross-sectional study. So he is going house to house to find out the data, right? Okay. And one more question I asked. Okay. Spot map represents local variation, rural, urban, district wise, state wise, national level, international variations. It tells you generally for a very small place, local variations. Right? Okay. So this is a spot map. Number one, number two, number three. We look at number one first. A person known who is number one? John Snow. Number one, Robert Koch. Few of you are writing correct. Leeuwenhoek. Leeuwenhoek का PSM में क्या करेंगे? It is James Lind. I have kept this image because actually this image was asked in the paper. And what is his contribution in public health. He did not discover scurvy. No. He did not discover bleeding gums. No. He did not discover vitamin C. Therefore, the question was asked, what was the contribution of James Lind in public health? He actually found out that citrus fruits can prevent and cure scurvy. Vitamin C was discovered many years later, right? So please be very careful while writing the choices answer, because the examiner will try to ask you see these such type of specific questions, right? So he feels happy when students do mistake in the exam. So try to save yourself from the sadism of the examiner, right? So please be very careful with these type of questions. Okay. Then we look at number 2. Okay, I must have told you. A student once told me, easy to remember because he is holding books in the pattern of his name, JNL. Right? So they will show you this image only. Then you will find Joseph Lister in the choice. Also. Right? Okay. Jennifer Lopez nahi hai. So this is James Lind, not Joseph Lister. And second person is Robert Koch. See, only 4 or 5 photographs from public health oblique microbiology have been shown because they have done some big contribution. Robert Koch, his contribution to public health, anyone? No, germ theory was by Louis Pasteur, not Robert Koch. Yes, he discovered most importantly TB bacillus. Therefore, that is also known as Koch bacillus. Otherwise, anthrax bacillus also he discovered. Yes, Koch postulates of microbiology also he gave. Solid culture media also he developed, right? So many contribution are there. TB, bacillus, Robert Koch. When do we have anti-tuberculosis day? 24th March. What do we have today? What do we have today? Okay, World Health Day. So today morning I shared the theme of World Health Day 2025 on Instagram. What is the theme? No, global action for universal healthcare was the original theme, which they have modified to now focus on maternal and child health. My health, my right. Okay. Not even a single student has answered this correctly. So we will wait till the student read or go through Instagram today's theme for World Health Day. Healthy beginnings, hopeful future. Right? Okay, good. What? Who is number 3? Who is number 3? Number 3. Jon Snow. Contribution of Jon Snow we have already discussed, right? Okay, let's go further. What is this diagram known as? This is forest plot. Now, what does forest plot do? See, they cannot ask you to calculate anything from forest plot. They will ask you where it is used, what is the use, what are the components, what is your interpretation. So forest plot is used to depict results of multiple studies together. Let us say meta-analysis. So let us presume this is a forest plot of a meta-analysis. I'm asking you very specific questions. Try to answer specifically. First question. How many studies were involved in this meta-analysis? 5 studies. How many studies results were finally included for calculation of results? How many studies were finally included? Very good. That is only 2 out of 5 studies. Can you tell me which study? 1 and 3, 1 and 4, 1 and 5? It is 4 and 5. Good. So I am presuming all of you have understood the concept. Let's quickly go through it again. See, when you look at forest plot, how the diagram depicts, it tells you first the different studies which are included. So name of the researcher along with the year in which study was published. So these 5 studies were included in meta-analysis. Now, can you tell me which study design studies were included? Which study designs study were included? कौन सा स्टडी डिजाइन है? दिस इज विच स्टडी डिजाइन मेटा एनालिसिस. केस कंट्रोल because look at the right side, odds ratio was used in calculation. So all the 5 studies, if you see odds ratio, 1.3, 2.1, 1.8, 2.3, 2.1, value of odds ratio. Can you tell me what is given in the bracket? What is given in the bracket of each odds ratio? What are these? These are confidence interval. What is confidence interval? Any number or any value you calculate, it may be slightly right or wrong because there are many biases, many confounding. So software makes a prediction. Confidence interval is the range in which actually value will lie. What does it mean? Suppose you get a odds ratio of 2.3. You have calculated 2.3, but software tells you may be slightly wrong, you may be slightly right. Actually, it will lie between 1.9 to 2.7. It may be 1.9, 2. You may be actually right, 2.3, but it may be 2.5 or 2.7 also. So let us suppose, let me tell you like this. Suppose you are going to score 87% marks in NEET PG. This is what you have calculated after attempting the paper. And software tells you, actually it may lie between 85 to 89%. Because one or two answers you may have attempted wrongly by your overconfidence. One or two guesswork may become correct, right? So this is confidence interval in which actual value will lie. Now, let me ask you a very simple question. Relative risk in a study is 4. What is the interpretation if it is smoking lung cancer? Topper will score more than 90% in the upcoming NEET PG. NEET PG is going to come very easy. Yes, smokers have 4 times higher chance of lung cancer as compared to non-smokers. Suppose its confidence interval is 3 to 5. What is its interpretation? If its confidence interval is 3 to 5, you have calculated 4, but it actually lies between 3 to 5. It may be 3 also, it may be 5 also. Now, suppose same 4 relative risk, confidence interval comes 0.5 to 7.5. What does it mean? On one hand, you are saying it may be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Association is present. Another hand, you are saying it may be 1. No association. On the other hand, if it is 0.5, it is protective. So you are saying all the 3 things together. Smoking may be a causative agent. Smoking is not associated. Smoking may be protective. If you are saying all 3 things at the same time, all 3 are not possible, your study is not significant. You will discard this study. So what is the golden rule? If your confidence interval includes 1, your results are useless, not significant. So look at which study designs out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, confidence interval include 1, is study number 1, study number 2, study number 3. You cannot use their results. So for final calculation, you will use study number 4 and 5. They definitely tell you relate odds ratio is more than 1, association is present, right? Yes, if suppose your confidence interval is 3.8 to 4.2. Now compare these two. Which study is better, first or second? Which study results are better? Second. Narrower the confidence interval, more accurate the results. Which study design is likely to have a bigger sample size? Which study design is likely to have a bigger sample size, first or second? Second. Bigger the sample size, more accurate the results. You do a study in 100 people, you do a study in 10,000 people, 10,000 will give you a more accurate result. So I'm again repeating, confidence interval should never include 1. If it includes 1, discard the results. Narrower the confidence interval, more accurate the results, higher the power of study, more significant results, and bigger the sample size, narrower the confidence interval, right? Okay. And how do you summarize the results of all these studies into a single result? That is known as, what is the summary measure known as, anyone? Diamond, right? So diamond, you try to synthesize and suppose it gives you value 2.2. So what is your interpretation of 2.2? Overall odds ratio of this meta-analysis is 2.2. 2.2 means association is present. Let's look at the confidence interval. Is it significant? 1.9 to 2.4. Yes, definitely it is significant because it is more than 1, right? So this is the interpretation. No one will ask you any calculation. What is this diagram known as? Yes, this is box and whisker plot. What does it depict? What does this diagram use to depict? We discussed in the class also. Yes, it is representation of data in its quartiles. Quartiles means data divided into 4 parts. How many quartiles are there? How many quartiles are there, friends? 3. So look at the diagram carefully. This is your total data from this point to this point, right? So when you want to divide it into 4 parts, you will need 3 intercepts. So these are your 3 intercepts. Quartile 1, quartile 2, and this is your third intercept, quartile 3. Look at the bottom of the screen. Now you have 4 parts, 4 quarters. So this is representation of data in its quartiles. Now, can you tell me what is this and this? If they give you a diagram and mark 2 green arrows, what do these 2 green arrows represent, anyone? Good. This is minimum, maximum value. You're absolutely right. You can calculate range from that. And suppose you find some values here. What are these? Yes, outliers. So like politicians who are outside our system, judiciary is outside our system, these are outliers. So outlier is abnormally high value, abnormally low value, but they are a part of the study, right? Okay. Even in your exam, even in your NEET PG exam result, toppers will always be outliers. Generally, what we get in the exam, 1 or 2 students score more than 90%, but majority of result is between 75 to 85%. Usually between 85 to 90, you will not find many people. So try to become one out of these 2 people, right? Become topper, become outlier, right? Anyways, when you start climbing up a mountain at top, you're always alone. You have to remember, right? So become outlier on this side, not on this side, right? Okay. On the higher side. Box and whisker plot. Can you interpret these 4 box and whisker plots? 1, 2, 3, and 4. Which one of them is a normal distribution? Yes, one. Why you are saying it is normal distribution? Look at the graph. If you try to draw, it will come like this. So why you're saying this is normal distribution, friends? It is bilaterally symmetrical bell shaped. Now, friends, look at this. What is this also known as Q2? What is Q2? Median, 50% values above, 50% values below. Can you tell me, friends, another question of your exam, what is this? Anyone? We have discussed, I think, somewhere. Q1 to Q3 is known as Q1 to Q3. From Q1 to, yes, Dr. Vaishu is right. This is known as interquartile range. Interquartile range is not Q1 to Q2, Q2 to Q3. It is a specific term for Q1 to Q3. So logically, it will include how many values? Roughly 50% of the values. So 25 to 75, right? Okay. Now look at this normal distribution. What is this point? This line in the center of the box. Is it mean, median, or mode? Okay, Dr. Goku has given correct first answer. It is all of the above. In a normal distribution, mean, median, and mode coincide. Look at graph number 2. Even that also appears bilaterally symmetrical bell-shaped. Then how it is different from graph number 1? How it is different from graph number 1? If graph 1 is normal distribution, this is also appearing like a normal distribution, but it is having outliers. So this study design has shown results having outliers in this study. What is study number 3 representing? Look carefully. Data is like this. So this is right skew, left skew. Yes, arrow is going towards your left or negative side. So left or negatively skewed. And look at graph number 4. Here the longer arrow is going towards right or positive side, right or positive skew. If I write in front of you, mean is greater than median, greater than mode. Are we talking of graph number 1, 2, 3, or 4? Yes, fourth graph. In a right skew curve, mean is greater than median, greater than mode. In left skew curve, mean is less than median, less than mode. In 1 and 2 normal distribution, mean is equal to median, equal to mode. Please remember, this box and whisker plot is also known as candlestick chart. If you can see, looks like candles, right? So candlestick chart also, if they use the word, it is representation of data in its quartile. Please remember, these forest plot, box and whisker plots are mainly meant for ionized CT. No, outliers are used to calculate, but mean is not preferable. Anyone can answer Dr. Harshit's answer. You can use mean, but what is a better measure of central tendency in outliers? It is median. Yes, it may skew the data a bit, but if it data is very big, then one or two outliers will not make much of a difference, right? This we have discussed. Triad triangle, so I will skip. Topic health and disease. Can you tell me what are the components of physical quality of life index and HDI? Listen to the question. Which is common to both? Which is common to both? Yes, one is literacy rate. What is the other commonality between them? Life expectancy, but life expectancy is different. It is at birth. In PQLI or HDI? At birth is used in HDI. 1 year. Difference lies in the second indicator. PQLI is infant mortality rate. Human development index is income. Now I told you in the class, friends, let's all quickly look at that. This is not a difficult question. PQLI include all except, HDI include all except. What makes it slightly tricky sometimes are the synonyms which are used. Literacy rate is also known as knowledge. We calculate education index in this, in which we use mean years of schooling, enrollment ratio of schools. All 5 are same. But which is the major component for calculation of human development index out of these 5? If I have to mark one answer is mean years of schooling. This is the most important. Income you can measure as per capita, how much income we are having per person per year, or we can use purchasing power parity in comparison to US dollar, right? So what is purchasing power parity? Anyone? What is the meaning of purchasing power parity? Actual meaning क्या है? What is the actual meaning? No, buying power is different. You are partly right, Dr. Ishan. Can you complete the answer? Okay, Dr. A is correct. When you compare currency of your country versus American dollar, in my country, 1 rupee I can buy 2 toffees. In USA, will $1 buy me 2 toffees or 20 toffees? That comparison is known as purchasing power parity, right? So now Trump has become again active. So purchasing power parity will again come into picture now, right? Life expectancy is also known as longevity or LE0, LEB. This is LE1. Listen to the question carefully and mark the answer. LE0 is more than, less than, equal to. LE0 is more than, equal to, or less than LE1. See, look at the chat box. We are getting all the 3 options in the answers from student, which is surprising because you just have to think logically. It will be less than. See, suppose a child is born today in India's life expectancy is 65. Maximum deaths occur in first year of life. So if he lives for 1 year, definitely his life expectancy will increase. Life expectancy in India is 65. But if a person is 70 years today, his life expectancy is now cannot be 65. It has to be 72, 75 or 80. So life expectancy increases with age. Life expectancy increases with age, right? Okay. Physical quality of life index lies between. Human development index lies between. Complete the answer, friends. PQLI lies between 0 to 100 and human development index lies between 0 to +1. India PQLI is 65. They will not ask you value. HDI of India is currently 0.644. Rank is 135. India belongs to which category of development? 0.644 is medium development. So we have low, medium, high, very high. Which country has highest development? 0.96 is Switzerland. So earlier, last 10 years, it was Norway, right? So last year I went to Norway to check it, but then they declared Switzerland. So before your class, I took a trip of Switzerland and I confirm it is correct, right? So Switzerland is the indeed most developed country of the world, rank one. If they ask you, it has three components: literacy, income, and life expectancy. Can I say HDI or PQI develops on health, education, living standards? Which of them? Health, education, or living standards? Health, education, or living standards? Dr. Gujju is right. All three: health, education, living standards. Right? So they have made our life hell. You can remember hell as a mnemonic. So health, education, living standards. Three components of PQLI HDI. This is the new way in which question was asked recently. So that is also correct. Health measured as life expectancy, education as literacy or knowledge or many years of schooling, and living standard as income or purchasing power parity. What is complementary to human development index? What is complementary to human development index? Poverty. So first we look at caloric intake because that is the most important proxy indicator. What are the cutoffs in rural and urban areas of India? Value based questions. Good, all of you are right. Less than 2400 and 2100 kilocalories a day. Again, we discussed, I think again you have to just remind yourself, think logically. Is this affordability or consumption? Is this affordability or consumption? This is affordability. Consumption is by your choice. You are with your girlfriend, she is eating everything, you are just watching her. So that is your choice. But it is affordability, whether you can afford that meal with your girlfriend in a restaurant or not. So a person is not able to afford 2400 or 2100 kilocalories a day. This is a sign of poverty, very right. It is a proxy indicator. When we say proxy indicator, what is a better indicator, direct indicator? Is income. Right? So you find sometimes crores of rupees in the house of a judge, right? So this is a direct indicator, but better is to use a proxy indicator, how much he consumes calories in a day, rural or urban areas, right? So caloric intake is generally asked in our papers. This is now the globally accepted measurement of poverty. That is multi-dimensional poverty index. Now, when we look at friends MDPI, because it is complementary to HDI, again look at the screen carefully. It has to have same health, education, living standards. Now, answer in capitals I am saying without looking at notes. Answer without looking at notes. What are the two sub-indicators of health? Two sub-indicators of health are child mortality and nutrition. What are the two sub-indicators of education? Yes, years of schooling but school to our politicians also went. More important is school attendance. So years of schooling and school attendance. And then there are 6 sub-indicators of living standards. What are these 6 sub-indicators of living standards, friend? Very right, these are food. Let us see how many remember correctly. Then we have fuel, electricity, water, assets, and toilet. Toilet is sanitation facility in the house. So please remember, there are, very carefully, please remember, there are 3 indicators and 10 sub-indicators. They may ask you all except. All are included. Housing will include flooring, right? So please remember food. Oh, sorry, not food. It is floor. Yes, you are right. So housing will include flooring, right? Now, friends, when we look at MDPI, what is the range? It lies between, because it is interpretation based question is what we are expecting. Yes, no, not 0 to 100. Many of us are right. It is like Human Development Index 0 to +1. Now, two questions. First, what is actually the definition of poverty in MDPI? What is the actual definition of poverty in MDPI? As I tell you, the 10 values of India. Yes, good. Dr. Himanshu is correct. How much is deprivation? So deprivation in more than 1/3 of sub-indicators. Deprivation means lack. Out of 10, if a family or person is lacking more than 33% of sub-indicators, more than 1/3, that is a poor person or family. Poverty. Now, when we calculate according to these guidelines, then you find that India was having, this was actually given by UN, United Nations. India was found to have 0.069 MDPI, having 16.4% poverty. Now, 16.4 is a very high number. Actually, it may be many, many times higher. But then government knows how to tweak the data. So what they did, they asked Niti Aayog. What is the older name of Niti Aayog? NEET PG question. Older name of Niti Aayog. Older name. Older name. नेशनल प्लानिंग कमीशन. इलेक्शन कमीशन नहीं, उनकी तो कोई प्लानिंग होती नहीं है. नेशनल प्लानिंग कमीशन इज नाउ नोन एज, दिस वाज द क्वेश्चन इन आवर पेपर. नीति आयोग. हु इज द चेयरपर्सन ऑफ नेशनल प्लानिंग कमीशन और नीति आयोग? It is prime minister. So they gave a concept that instead of 10, let us make it 12. So only for India, what India is doing, they have added 2 more indicators, one in health and one in living standards also. In health, they have added adolescent health. In living standards, they have added bank account. What I will suggest, this is a topic only for INI-CT. First, remember the 10 sub-indicators. If you feel we can add 2 more and remember them, adolescent health and bank account. Only advantage it offered to us, now it found that poverty has become 11.3% in India, according to Niti Aayog. They include mobile usage, it will become 1% or 0% poverty in India, right? So this is the indicators and sub-indicators of multi-dimensional poverty index, right? Okay. So please remember 10 sub-indicators and 3 indicators. And I feel range they can ask you. But if examiner actually wants to ask, this is the best question he can ask besides indicators. How do you define poverty using MDPI? Deprivation in more than 1/3 of the sub-indicators, right? Class will continue till 11:30, right? Time distribution of disease we come, friends. Time distribution of disease. What is short-term fluctuation actually known as? Which occurs in days, weeks, or months? Yes, epidemic. INICT question. Long-term fluctuation, decades, which occurs over decades. This is known as, yes, secular trend. And periodic fluctuations may be seasonal, that we have already discussed in epidemiology, or cyclical. Now to see, I know you all of you understood the concept also, short term, long term, periodic. Besides definition, they ask you examples. So if I ask you, this is a type of, first you identify, this is a type of. Why you are saying seasonal? Because if one sees carefully, every year there is a peak around December, January. So this is a seasonal distribution or seasonal trend. Any example you can think of seasonal trend of this example, which is on the screen? Yes, respiratory diseases are the best example. Respiratory diseases are the best example of this. Even asthma, yes, even road traffic accidents in North India, yes, right. Then this is a type of. Only I'm showing you those diagrams which have been asked in the paper. Yes, look carefully. First peak around 1987-88, then 93, 94, 97, 98, 2003, 4, 7, 8. So this disease is occurring once every 5 to 6 years. So this is a type of cyclical trend. Quickly, three questions. What is the cyclical trend frequency of measles? Rubella. Two different questions. Measles is once every 2 to 3 years. Rubella is once every 5 to 8 years. Some books say 4 to 6. That is also correct. 5 to 8 years. And which disease shows maximum cyclical trends and why? Yes, this is more likely to be rubella. Influenza shows maximum cyclical trends because it has micro question, maximum antigenic variations, drift and shift. We discussed just drift and shift. Which of them occurs due to point mutation? Is it drift? Is it shift? Point mutation leads to drift. Drift. Yes. Oh, 90% are right. One or two students are making it wrong. So please remember, point mutation leads to drift. Genetic recombination, reassortment, gene rearrangement leads to shift. Right? Okay. This is epidemic, secular, seasonal, cyclical. If I say this represents a disease in India, which disease this is? Yes, polio. Polio did not reduce to zero overnight. Look at the axis, around 50-60 years of effort. So this is a secular trend. A disease slowly increase or decrease in a population usually takes decades. Usually take decades to do so. So communicable are decreasing, non-communicable are increasing. Last case we discussed occurred in 2011 Havra. So 13th January 2011 Havra. Right, was the last case of polio. INICT question. Now, before we go ahead, quickly just to complete, can you tell me Bhopal gas tragedy, Chernobyl tragedy, Vizag tragedy? Which type of time distribution? Epidemic, secular, seasonal, cyclical? All three are epidemic. Like Bhopal gas tragedy occurred on a single day, 3rd December 1984. Gas was methyl isocyanide. Chernobyl tragedy, 26th April 1986. What was the actual exposure to the population in Chernobyl tragedy? Radioactive isotopes of cesium, strontium, iodine. Vizag tragedy, COVID lockdown. What was the actual exposure to the population? It was styrene gas. So these occurred on a single day. Maximum affected were on a single day. Epidemic of a disease. Right. Now, epidemics may be of multiple types. Epidemics, we'll come to that, Dr. Harish, we'll come to that. Epidemic may be of multiple types. First type, look carefully at the screen. You can see there is a sudden rise in number of cases. Treatment started, sudden fall in number of cases. This is single exposure point source epidemic. Exposure occurs only once from a single point source. What does this red bar at the bottom represent? If they ask you in the diagram, this red bar is, yes, a single incubation period. So maximum cases are clustered in a single incubation period. So this will include classical examples of food poisoning, Bhopal gas tragedy, Chernobyl tragedy, Vizag tragedy, right? So it occurs, few hundred thousands of people are affected. You start treatment slowly and slowly, not slowly and slowly, immediately people recover from food poisoning with ORS, right? Okay. Now, if exposure is not occurring only once, it occurs multiple times, you will actually find there are multiple peaks. This epidemic is known as, again, it is occurring from a single point source, multiple exposure point source epidemic. And what are these multiple peaks known as yellow colored arrows that I have made in the image, friends? That is known as secondary peaks or secondary waves. So I'll again repeat. Single peak clustering of cases in single incubation period is characteristic of single exposure point source. Multiple peaks, multiple times exposure is characteristic of multiple exposure point source. People are exposed. Look at the bottom green bars. Multiple incubation period. People are getting exposed multiple times. A good example is contaminated well or pond in a village, which is a source of water supply. Right? Now, compare it with the third type of epidemic, that is propagated. What is the characteristic of propagated? Because there is a slow rise, slow fall, absence of peak. It is characterized by person to person transmission, like in tuberculosis. In TB, one case can give rise to how many cases in a year? Older question. 10 to 15 people in a year. So 1 become 2, 2 become 10, 10 become 20. Now, these are the classical diagrams and examples which have been asked. Now, let us complete the topic by looking at some other questions of your exam. Out of the 3 epidemic types, which will be shown by HIV, single answer. Have to mark single answer. HIV, yes, is propagated. If they ask you HIV through a commercial sex worker, yes, same HIV positive commercial sex worker is acting as a single point source, giving multiple exposure to the same client community again, and again. Polio, if it spreads in India now, will be propagated because every child is having immunity. So if it occurs slow rise, what about a question of your paper? Hepatitis A outbreak in a medical college. Hepatitis A outbreak in a medical college will also be propagated because 95% Indians have already immunity to hepatitis A in adulthood. So if it spreads, it will spread very slow. 1 will become 2, will become 3, like this, right? So go through these 3 types of epidemics. This is a representation of yes, propagated epidemic again. Why you're saying this is propagated? Look at the image carefully. Person to person transmission. One case gave rise to 3, 7, 10. So TB increased slowly in the population, right? Propagated epidemic. What is the technical definition of epidemic? When will we say epidemic for a disease has occurred in a population? Yes, excess of normal. So cases are clearly in excess of normal expectancy. So normally some disease will occur in the population. If it is clearly more than that, break will be at 8:30, friends. What is the statistical definition of epidemic? What is the statistical definition? Yes, Dr. Yashri is right. When cases are more than mean plus 2 standard deviation. Right, so standard deviation is variation in number of cases. One standard deviation is normal. If standard deviation becomes 2 or more, then epidemic will be declared for the disease. Otherwise, any new disease, any reoccurrence of a disease is also an epidemic. What is endemic, friends? What is endemic? What is the keyword? Yes, continuous presence of a disease in a population. Constant presence, a disease which is always present, like malaria, dengue are present throughout the year. They increase in rainy season, but they are present throughout the year. So this is endemic. Respiratory diseases are present throughout the year. They increase in winter season. All these are endemic diseases. Yes, non-communicable diseases which don't have a treatment, diabetes, hypertension, cancers are also endemic. What is pandemic? It crosses international border. So country to country spread of a disease. Country to country spread of a disease is pandemic. And what is sporadic occurrence of a disease? If complete the answer, cases are scattered in time and place. Friends, these are asked by definitions and example. I have told you the keywords which will help you identify. Always present, endemic. It becomes more than that by 2 standard deviation, epidemic, which crosses one country to another, pandemic, and sporadic like snake bite, some occurring in this state today, some occurring in another state tomorrow. That is a sporadic occurrence. Cases are not related to each other. Scattered means if you find one case of arsenic poisoning in Delhi today, one in Chennai today, both may not be related to each other. So any type of poisoning, snake bites, scorpion bites, cases which are not related to each other are sporadic occurrence. Even road traffic accident, you are right. One occurs in North India today, one in South, they are not related to each other. No, that will not be asked, Dr. Harish, right? So topics which have not been asked in last 10-15 years, we are skipping. Control, elimination, eradication. Keywords, definitions, and examples are asked. Can anyone tell me when do we say a disease has been controlled? Yes, a disease stops to be a public health problem. Now, this is what you and me can say as a doctor. A disease stops to be a public health problem. But what does it actually mean? Reduction of incidence, duration, complications, or financial burden? UPSC question. Which of them is included in the definition of control of a disease? Answer is all of the above. So when a disease, new cases are decreasing, duration is decreasing, complication is decreasing, and financial burden to the government is decreasing. That is known as control of a disease in a population. Now, if you keep on reducing transmission, that is control. So reduction in transmission. So when will you declare a disease has been eliminated? Transmission is reducing, so you are controlling. When transmission stops. So elimination is complete interruption of transmission. This definition was asked in INI-CT also. So read the words carefully. Complete interruption of transmission. No new case is occurring. You cannot get the disease, I cannot get the disease. But eradication also is same. There is complete interruption of transmission. So how it is different? There is actually complete extermination of organism. You have to remember these keywords. What is the meaning of extermination? Destruction. No organism, no disease can occur. So a disease stops to be a public health problem by reducing transmission control. Complete stoppage of transmission, elimination. Complete destruction of organism. That is eradication. Also, technically, elimination is for a country, even state or district or region, but eradication you can only use for world. So we cannot say India has eradicated something. India can eliminate, world can eradicate. Which of them show all or none phenomena is shown by eradication. Either it will occur or not. You cannot say we have 96% eradicated polio. Either you have eradicated today or not. Which of them is known as tearing out by roots? Control, elimination, eradication. Again, eradication, जड़ से उखाड़ना. No organism, no disease can occur. Right? Okay. Which diseases have been successfully eradicated from this planet? Diseases eradicated include only and only smallpox. So date of eradication of smallpox is asked in the paper. Complete date is 8th of May, 1980. Okay, I'm asking two different questions. Listen and answer carefully. How much time should pass from last case before WHO declares elimination from a country or eradication from the planet? Okay, many are saying 3, but few are saying 5 years. Just remember, listen to question again. After last case, how much time WHO will wait for declaring elimination of a disease from a country or eradication from the world? It is 3 years. So smallpox last case 1977 Somalia. After that no case, WHO waited for 3 years, 1980 eradication declared. Now listen to the other question carefully. Before declaring that a epidemic has stopped, how much you should wait from the last case? Popular question. Yes, good. 2-3 students have answered correctly. Before declaring termination of an epidemic, we should wait for twice the incubation period from the last case. We can wait for one incubation period, but to be on the safer side, twice the incubation period from the last case. NEET PG, very popular question. We then declare no cases occurred in last two incubation period. Now transmission is not possible. So epidemic has been stopped in the population. Now, when you look at a term zero incidence, is it control, elimination, eradication? You have to mark one answer. Zero incidence. Control, elimination, eradication. That is elimination. No new case. This is a term meant for elimination, right? So these are all questions which come from control, elimination, eradication. Of course, they will ask you India specifically, which 5 diseases India has eliminated, which is the latest disease to have been eliminated from India. Which 5 diseases India has eliminated, and the latest disease to have been eliminated from India is trachoma. Very right. So can anyone quickly tell me the other diseases? These are, yes, leprosy, December 2005. Before that, it was guinea worm. What is the causative agent of guinea worm, which was declared eliminated in February 2000? Causative agent, Dracunculus. Then in July 2016, 2 diseases were eliminated together according to WHO from India. These were yaws and maternal neonatal tetanus. Can you tell me the causative agent of yaws? Causative agent of yaws is Treponema pertenu. What is the difference between yaws and syphilis? What is the difference between yaws and syphilis? Public health wise. ईयर याद करने की जरूरत नहीं है. Diseases you should know. What is the difference between yaws and syphilis? Yes, Dr. Ishan is right. Syphilis is a sexual treponemal disease. Yaws is not sexual, non-venereal. It is through direct skin contact. So it is also treponema. Please remember, both are due to Treponema pallidum. Complete name of the organism which causes syphilis. Treponema pallidum pallidum. Complete name of organism which causes yaws. Treponema pallidum pertenu. So actually both are pallidum, right? So one is sexual, one is non-sexual. Trachoma, very right, October. It was actually 8th of October, 2024, recently. So what is left is polio. So where should we put polio? Control, eliminated, eradicated. It is none of the above. It has been given a free status by WHO to India in March 2024. So March 2014. So March 2014, 3 years from the last case, instead of declaring elimination, they declared polio, right? There is no waiting period as such. They say we will wait for few years, then WHO goes to sleep. When they will wake up, they will declare elimination. So this is polio. Free status, please be careful. It is not elimination. India is yet to eliminate polio. Yet to eliminate polio, right? Ideally, there should be 3 years, but it has been now, you can see 3 and 11, 14 years completed. Zero case of polio in India, right? Okay. Levels of prevention. How many levels of prevention exist, friends? 4. So first you tell me basic definition wise. What is the difference between primordial, primary, secondary, and tertiary? In very simple words, primordial is before emergence of risk factors. No risk factor has emerged in the body, no disease can occur. But if risk factors occur, still you can try to prevent the disease. So risk factor may be present. Right? Like majority of you are already smoker, alcoholic. So this is a primary level of prevention we can apply. Right? Secondary, when disease possibly starts in the body. Not even a single student wrote in the chat box that I am not a smoker, alcoholic, right? Okay, so secondary is disease possibly starts. Europeans have the best interpretation. Whenever I ask them, na, why you smoke so much, any European you ask, he will always reply, marna to वैसे भी है, that I am ultimately going to die. This is just another way, right? So this is disease possibly starts in the body is secondary. And tertiary is when disease is in progression or over. So smoking has not yet started, primordial. But you join MBBS, you start smoking, primary, right? Then you see coronary heart disease patient in your medicine OPD, secondary. Now you can diagnose and treat the person. And when you think about prolonging the life of the person, improving the quality of life, then tertiary. Quaternary is generally not asked, right? Now, can you tell me how do we achieve them? Modes of intervention. Primordial, we achieve by health education. Primary by, how do we achieve primary level of prevention, friends? Another way of saying health education is, yes, better word is health promotion and specific protection. If disease starts, early diagnosis and treatment. And if disease is already in progression, diagnosis treatment already has taken place. Yes, disability limitation and rehabilitation. See, in our normal complete video lectures, PSM is 40-45 hours. Similarly, mission classes also we discuss for 40-45 hours. Here we are going slightly fast because it's just a 10-hour course, right? So I'm presuming all of you are well aware of all these things. So besides definition, what they ask is directly the questions. So can you tell me, use 0 for primordial, 1 primary, 2 secondary, 3 tertiary. Measles vaccine is which level of prevention? Primary. Health promotion, specific protection. Specific protection. BCG vaccine. Primordial, primary, secondary, tertiary. Primary. All vaccines by default are primary level specific protection. Vaccine will come in the paper. You have to mark primary. Rabies vaccine pre-exposure. Rabies vaccine pre-exposure is primary. Dog handlers, monkey catchers, zookeepers, they keep on taking rabies vaccine because a risk is present. Rabies vaccine post-exposure. Rabies vaccine post-exposure. Yes, content will be sufficient. We'll study so much. Rabies vaccine post-exposure is same. After a dog bite, risk is present. So whether a vaccine is taken pre-exposure or post-exposure, it is always because a risk is present. Primary level specific protection. If they ask you HPV vaccine, human papilloma virus vaccine, is again primary. So disease is present, then it is of no use, vaccines. It is to prevent a disease. So this all has to be primary level specific protection. What about COVID vaccines? COVID vaccine is, yes, primary specific. So this is the golden rule. All vaccines by default are primary level specific protection, including BCG. Only exception to this rule is when BCG is not used for severe forms of TB, but it is used for bladder cancer. So only exception is BCG in bladder cancer is secondary level of prevention. What about contraceptives? Condoms, OCP, IUD, sterilization. Which level of prevention they represent? Again, primary specific protection. Contraceptives are used when a risk of outcome or pregnancy is present to prevent the pregnancy. So primary specific protection. What about peripheral blood smear for malaria, friends? Why you are saying secondary for peripheral blood smear? Because it is diagnostic test of malaria. Now, peripheral blood smear is a diagnostic test. Compare it with pap smear, which is a screening test. So pap smear will become which level of prevention? Pap smear will be again secondary. So golden rule, all screening, all diagnostic tests are mainly meant for disease detection. They cannot prevent the disease. So all screening, all diagnoses are secondary level. What about category 2 dots? Category 2 dots. A patient, they will make a lengthy question. 27-year-old male is on category 2 dots. So level of prevention is yes, secondary treatment. What is T in dots? T. This is treatment. Treatment, right? So this is secondary level. ACT-SP in malaria. ACT-SP in malaria. Secondary. This is the drug of choice for falciparum malaria in other parts of India. So this is a drug of choice. That means person has been diagnosed. Now you are treating the person. Spectacles. Spectacles. Some are saying secondary, some are saying tertiary. Apply the definitions. Can spectacles treat your refractive error? No. So they can only help you in disability limitation, rehabilitation, or both. They can help you in disability limitation, rehabilitation, or both. It is in both. So prevents further disability. You are visually rehabilitated. See each and every alphabet carefully. Source reduction for malaria. Source reduction for malaria. Primordial. What is source reduction? Elimination of breeding places. No breeding of larva, no mosquito, no malaria. Seat belt or helmet. Seat belt or helmet is primary. Risk of head injury is present, therefore we advise you seat belt helmet. Risk is present when we are driving. What about isolation of a patient? Secondary. So can I say quarantine is also secondary? No. Quarantine is for healthy contact. And what is the duration of quarantine? It is primary level. Specific protection for people around that person. This is for maximum incubation period. What is the quarantine period of yellow fever? It is quarantine period of yellow fever is 6 days. What is the meaning of the word quarantine? Quarantine was first applied for which disease? Yes, that is also primary, Dr. Deepika. Very right. Quarantine was first applied for plague, 40-day detention. But now we know it's not 40-day for all diseases. It is maximum incubation period. Right? Okay. Preserving traditional lifestyle. Preserving traditional lifestyle. Isolate is separate and treat. So secondary level. Preserving traditional lifestyle is primordial. A father asked his son not to adopt bad habits. Primordial. A father asked his son to leave his bad habits. That is primary health promotion. Son leaves bad habits on advice of father. Primary specific protection. Fetal ultrasonography. Fetal ultrasonography is diagnosis. So secondary level. Monitoring of blood pressure. Monitoring of blood pressure is secondary, not primary. See, if you monitor BP of Salman Khan, you cannot prevent hypertension. You can detect hypertension that Lawrence Bishnoi is nearby. So this is detection of a disease in a person, right? So this is secondary. Okay, spectrum of disease. Can you arrange in sequence? Can you arrange in sequence? A, B, C, D. Okay, one answer we have got is B, D, C, and A. Okay, correct. Disease, impairment, disability, handicap. Friends, if you go concept wise, all of us know disease. When a person is afflicted through an organism, communicable or non-communicable, disease may occur. Impairment, loss of any anatomical, physiological, psychological part or function of the body. Because of this disability, person is unable to perform routine activity considered normal for his age or sex, other people can do. Handicap, a person is unable to fulfill his role in the society. He cannot earn for himself or others, right? So we look at the two technical questions of your paper. Loss of right hand in a truck accident is best classified as. These are the four choices. What should I mark? Disease, impairment, disability, or handicap. See, we are getting different answers. Again, I'll remind you the definitions. Disease, we know. Impairment is loss of anatomical, physiological, psychological functional part. Disability is unable to do activity normal for his age sex. Handicap is unable to fulfill role in the society. Yes, this is an impairment. Because of this, person is not able to drive his bike, drive his car, write properly. That is disability. Because of this, person is not able to get a job. That is a handicap. So read the language of the question. Diabetes is a disease. Erectile dysfunction is an impairment. Question of your paper. 27-year-old male unable to perform sexual activity. This is a type of disability. If it results in divorce, it will become a handicap for the person or the family. So try to go in a sequential definition wise manner. You'll understand, right? Okay. Okay, so spectrum of disease, types of cases. Can you tell me what is a primary case? What is a secondary case? As the word is telling you, primary means first case. What is a secondary case, anyone? Yes, all cases who develop from primary case. Okay, I ask you a question. Can you tell me primary case can it be multiple? Primary case, can it be multiple? Answer is yes. Answer is yes. Suppose an Aedes bite for the first time, 5 people in a city today to transmit malaria. 5 primary cases are there, right? Till the 31st December, these 5 people affect 400 more people. Those are 400 secondary cases. Total are 405. Who will be index case now? Your NEET PG question. Who is index case now? Yes, first case reported to health system or first came coming to notice of investigator. First case diagnosed by the health system. First case who's entered in the index of a register somewhere. That detected case is index. Index may be primary, may be secondary. Yes, doctor, you are right. Incubation period definition. In your exam, these 3 definitions have been asked. What is incubation period? It is a period between. Yes, very right. Right from entry of organism in human body, from that point till appearance of first sign or symptom. Entry of organism till first sign or symptom. What is median incubation period? Median is middle value. It's not average. It is middle value. So it is time for 50% cases to occur. What is serial interval? It is an interval or gap between dash and dash. Complete the answer, friends. I'm looking at the chat box continuously. Yes, all of you are right. Primary and secondary case. So between primary case and secondary case, here you can see, say secondary case means second case here. And what is generation time? Finally, one of the recent questions repeated. Time gap between entry of organism in human body till. Yes, Dr. Goko is right. Maximum infectivity of that person. These are definition based questions. We are not allowed to lose the marks. Median is you arrange in ascending order, middle value. Middle value. We'll discuss again in statistics tomorrow. When you arrange in ascending order, the middle value. So out of 100 cases, how much time was taken for first 50% cases to occur? No. Maximum infectivity and communicability, you cannot say are same. Exam purposes, we say infectivity and communicability are same. Exam purposes, yes. Okay. Then in your exam, they've asked these definitions again and again. So who is a contact carrier? A carrier who develops from a case. Someone comes in contact with a case and himself becomes a carrier. Paradoxical carrier. Who gets organism from another carrier and becomes a carrier. Incubatory, as the word is telling you, who sheds organism even in incubation period. COVID, a person has not developed sign or symptom himself, but during that incubation period, he can spread it to others. Convalescent carrier, convalescence means recovery. Again, COVID, person himself has not recovered fully, but he keeps on transmitting the organisms to others. Chronic has to be related to duration, shed organism more than 6 months. It may be different for different disease cutoffs, but maximum diseases follow acute and chronic carrier cutoff as 6 months. And latest question, pseudo carrier is a carrier. So don't say it's not a carrier. It is a carrier, but of, yes, that is the correct answer, a virulent organism. Just for the satisfaction of national board, I'm asking again, how many of you are answering without looking at notes? Just for the satisfaction of national board, I'm asking. Okay, majority, all of you are answering without looking at notes. So that's a very good sign. You have to maintain this memory till the last minute of the exam. After submission of exam, do anything, but till that point, no. Right? Okay. Okay, we come to iceberg phenomena. Quickly tell me, tip comprises of, hidden portion comprises of. Tip comprises of cases. Tip of iceberg is visible to you. Hidden portion is mainly comprised of carriers. Also subclinical, preclinical, asymptomatic, latent cases, but mainly carriers. Tip is the responsibility of, hidden portion is the responsibility of. If there is a case, it is your responsibility as a clinician or doctor to manage them. Hidden portion are transmitting the disease, but they don't have signs and symptoms. They will not reach a doctor or a clinician. So they have to be found in the community by epidemiologist. All these are questions of the exam which I'm writing on the screen. Tip is detected by, hidden portion is detected by which test? Tip signs and symptoms directly go for diagnosis. Hidden disease is present, no sign or symptom, carriers go for screening. Tip is which level of prevention? Hidden portion is through which level of prevention? Tip is through secondary level of prevention. Hidden portion also secondary. What is this water surface known as line of demarcation? It actually lies between, line of demarcation lies between. Yes, Dr. Rohan is right. Apparent and inapparent infections. Visible and invisible. I'm telling you a sentence, tell me true, false. Iceberg is dynamic. Iceberg is dynamic. Yes, it can change shape and size depending on how many we are able to detect and treat properly. Can you tell me which 5 diseases have no carriers, no iceberg phenomena? Of the major diseases, 5 are measles, rubella, rabies, tetanus, plus minus pertussis. And if you have to mark one answer, which disease shows best iceberg phenomena in India? Which disease shows best iceberg phenomena? It is malnutrition. Otherwise, respiratory diseases like influenza, HIV also show, but best iceberg phenomena is by malnutrition, because people who are having mild anemia, mild wasting, mild stunting, they are not even aware because right now problem is not there in the body. So 5 diseases, no carriers, no iceberg phenomena, measles, rubella. No carriers means if carriers are present, they may be very, very few, negligible. Rabies and tetanus. Pertussis carriers are seen, but they are not able to transmit so much. Measles in both means, no, measles has no iceberg phenomena, very few carriers. Rubella shows subclinical again, but very few subclinical, right? So see, when we say no iceberg phenomena, it actually means iceberg will be like this. Almost everything is visible above the water surface. This means no iceberg phenomenon, right? So 1 or 2% may be below, but 98, 90%, 99% you can easily detect in the community, right? No, best example of iceberg phenomena is malnutrition. Rabies show no iceberg phenomena. Rabies, tetanus, almost 100% you can detect clinically, right? This we have discussed. Can you quickly tell me, isolation is done till which point? Quarantine is done till which point? Isolation is for cases. Quarantine is for healthy contacts. Yes, isolation is still recovery. So treat the person secondary level. Quarantine is 3 till maximum incubation period, 6 days for yellow fever. Primary level specific protection for other people of that country, right? Okay. This we have discussed. This we have discussed. Okay. So dream big, aim high. Dream big, aim high. Now, friends, how many of you have completed your course? How many of you have completed your course? Yes, this is one of the top points of Europe. This is Matterhorn. You have seen that chocolate Toblerone. So on that it is drawn, right? So this is one of the highest peaks, 4,500, I think, meters it is, right? So oxygen is low, but you can go. It takes 3 cable cars to reach here. We cannot climb, right? All doctors of very poor fitness. Only 7 people have been able to climb so far this. So Switzerland has made for people like doctors like us to go through cable cars. 3 cable cars are there. It takes 45 minutes to reach. And cable cars are one of the fastest in the world. So you can enjoy people vomiting around, but it is really a good sight. So this is Dream Big, Aim High. How many of you have completed your course? Okay, just once. Okay. Now, friends, if you are targeting, let us say, NEET PG, today is 7th April. You have 2 months left. What I will suggest is do not try to complete the course now. Otherwise, what will happen? You will not get a time to revise. Revision is the key. So what I will suggest, whatever is left, complete through rapid revision, quick revision videos. Sit on a single day. Suppose some subject is 6 hours. Don't think morning till evening, finish it, right? If you don't have time. But I want you to revise at least 3 to 4 times. If you have not done 1 or 2 revisions till now, target 2 revisions. One is through notes and one is through the labs of revision and quick revision video. So one will be this quick revision. We are doing crash course type of thing where many new students from other platforms have also joined. So friends, you have to combine everything now, collate everything. On your older notes, keep on adding. Doesn't matter. Don't worry about memory, Dr. Tinder, because it happens with everyone. We are reading so much, we feel we don't remember. But trust me, when you're sitting in the examination hall, each and every answer choices when you are reading, you will start feeling happy that I'm able to remember everything, right? So original notes, what you have already prepared or you have studied from printed notes. So try to revise from quick revision videos. These labs, lab 2 revision is going on. There will be a lab 3 of marathon session. Please remember, don't change the primary source of your notes, right? Concise, you cannot do at this stage. What I will suggest is faster reading. Faster reading will help you. Faster reading, right? A lot of time is left. Make or break months, we generally say, is last 100 days. So you have now 2 months left. Not what you have done till now. What you are going to do from now onwards will decide your rank. So we have seen students who were below average, but suddenly in last 2-3 months, they did systematic preparation. They broke into top 200, 500, right? So this you have to remember. So that is the key. Daily practice of questions. There is no substitute now. Minimum 100 to 150 questions. By end of April, it should become 200 questions per day. All grand tests you have to give. Still want to avoid any depression due to low marks in GT, you can avoid last 1 or 2 GTs. Please remember, friends, one day before the exam, we will have a session of 1 or 2 hours. That will be to motivate you live on in the app, also on YouTube also. So every teacher we will ask to prepare 5-10 one-liner questions for you. That is not the paper which is going to come next day, but that will help you stay on course in the last 24 hours before the exam, right? Last time, many questions came from that session, so that was just by chance. Yes, 150 questions daily, Dr. Strange. What you can do is answers you know. Don't even look at the explanation. But some easy question goes wrong. Definitely look at the explanation. That is you have to do. How to manage? This is your problem. You have to manage, friends. 2 months now, there is no respite. Take proper diet, proper rest, but keep on studying, keep on studying. There is no other way, right? I know it is easy to say, but everyone has done it. We have also done it in our times, your time. There are distractions which are more like social media, but still you have to keep on doing it, right? Faster it will happen. Don't worry, Dr. Ronak, as the exam is approaching, what I will suggest is make feasible, realistic goals. Make feasible, realistic goals. Matlab, if I personally feel I can maximum study 8 hours a day, I will not try to make 12 hours a day. 8, I have a target, I'll make for 8.5, 9 hours. I can do, I know. So if you feel 150 questions is too much for you, at least make for 100. try to do 105 or 110. Mission is more than enough. These lab 2 and lab 3, if you attend, we are doing revision with you, right? So you just sit in the class on your own. You will not be able to revise PSM in 10 hours, but you sit in the class. I'll make sure you revise in 10 hours, right? Lab 2 will help you as a complete revision, right? Practice, keep on practicing. Question will have mock test also, grand test also, QBank, PYQ, late night. Don't leave anything. Whatever time you get, do everything. It will give you a degree of confidence. Your accuracy will increase. Self-doubt is a normal thing, Dr. Shivani. Even topper never has been able to declare till now that I will become a topper. So students say I've done a good paper. On becoming topper, they say it was a surprise, right? So let there be some doubt. It's okay. There is no FOMO. There is no FOMO for anything. Trust yourself. What you have done till now, you have to consolidate. If you want to integrate with BTR, what I will suggest is use BTR as a ultra rapid revision. You have done PSM for 40 hours in mission videos. You are doing for 10 hours today and tomorrow. We'll discuss END. Then 3 hours of BTR should not be a problem. 3 hours you can quickly use it to revise even at a faster pace, right? INICT marathon will not be useful for NEET PG. NEET PG, we will have a separate marathon. Right? Scores can only improve by continuously practicing the questions. Questions, I feel right now it should be minimum 100 to 150 per day, minimum. See, when we tell the students you have to practice 30,000 questions, they get worried. Okay, 30,000 is a big number. When we say you have to practice last 20 years of questions, they get worried. So we say break it into smaller parts. 100 questions per day, slowly increase it to 200 questions per day if possible, right? Solutions, do not look at the solutions or explanation. Only questions which went wrong, that you should definitely look. Review GT on the same day. On the same day, look at the GT. Any wrong question, please identify. It will look you are wasting your time, but in the exam, you will thank me that you have solved it on the same day, right? To reduce negative mark, make a goal in your mind. Out of 200, these many questions I will attempt. This is my target. Attempt slightly higher than that because some mistakes will occur. I cannot score 100%, so I will not attempt all the 200. I will attempt around so that a topper marks can be there. 90% topper gets. So I will attempt around 185 to 190. 10 questions I will simply leave. 10 questions because I don't even know what they are asking. But 190, 180 to 190 questions out of 200 I will attempt so that I can remain in the list of the toppers, right? If my all questions are correct, right? All marathon classes are live only. All marathon classes are live. All these labs are live. All labs are live, right? Mission also, lab 2 also, lab 3, right? Okay. तुमसे ज्यादा टीचरों को पढ़वा देते हैं कोर्स के लिए, right? Okay. Then we move further. We move to third topic, vaccines and cold chain. Timing of marathon, I think this time we are having morning, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. For few, it may be in the evening if I'm not wrong, right? Okay, vaccines, cold chain. Can you quickly tell me which vaccines are given at birth in India, 6 weeks, 10 weeks, 14 weeks? You keep on writing in the chat box, birth. I will quickly have a look and see how many of you are marking correctly, how many of you are marking wrongly. Okay, very right. We give at birth BCG, OPV 0, 0 means at birth, and hepatitis B. Anything else which is given at birth in immunization schedule is nothing else, only these three. 6 week we give DPT 1, OPV 1, Hep B 1. Then we give their second and third dose at 10th and 14th week. What else is given at 6, 10, and 14 weeks? Vitamin K is given at birth, but it's not a part of immunization. Which else? What else is given at 6, 10, 14? Very right. We give Haemophilus influenza B 1, 2, 3. We give rotaviral vaccine 1, 2, 3. Anything else which is given at during these times? Yes, fractionated IPV. We give 2 doses only at 6 and 14. And similarly, pneumococcal conjugate vaccine also. Only 2 doses at 6 and 14. 10th week doses not given. Ninth month, we give measles or MR first dose, and we give vitamin A. How much? 1 lakh. At 9 months, do we give anything else? At 9 months, do we give anything else? Yes, we give Japanese encephalitis 1. Yes, fractionated IPV third dose, pneumococcal conjugate vaccine third dose. Every 6 months, then we call the person or child for vitamin A, 2 lakh every time till the age of 5 years. What is the total dose of vitamin A in the program, friends? Total dose is 17 lakh. Good. 16 to 24 months, we give vaccines which require boosters. So we are giving DPT booster, OPV booster. Beside this, do we give anything else at 16 to 24 months of age? Yes, good. We give measles MR second dose and JE second dose. Can anyone remind me what is the second dose of measles known as? Let us see. क्योंकि notes में यहाँ पे नहीं लिखा होगा, कहीं और पे लिखा हुआ है. How many of us remember? Good. That is known as AMR strategy. Accelerated measles mortality reduction strategy means 2 doses of measles should be given, giving almost close to 100% efficacy. So accelerated measles mortality reduction strategy means 2 doses of measles in Indian program. At 5 years, we give DPT booster. It's not written in the program, but it is along with OPV booster. At 10 years, 16 years, and in pregnancy, we give TD vaccine. So tetanus diphtheria combination is given at 10 years, 16 years, and in pregnancy. This is the complete immunization schedule of India. Complete immunization schedule of India. No, HPV has been launched, trials are going on, but not in the immunization schedule yet. And even then, Dr. Sayed, suppose something new has come, let us say in January, February, March, April, May, your examiners are not so updated. They open Park and older books to make your questions. So very new things, even I don't expect. But in UPSC paper, combined medical services exam, they will definitely ask you latest, right? Yes, this is PCV booster at 9 months. What are the 5 components of pentavalent vaccine of India in immunization schedule? So pentavalent includes DPT, hepatitis B, Haemophilus influenza B. So 5 components, all are given intramuscular, right? Okay. National immunization schedule. Good. So everyone remembers, questions will come out of this. Contraindications. Can you tell me, friends, which vaccine should be avoided in pregnancy? All live vaccines. Reason? Yes, pregnancy is an immunocompromised state. Live attenuated vaccine, virus or bacterium, will feel like a complete virus or bacterium. Only exception to this rule in high transmission areas of world is yellow fever. So yellow fever may be given. HIV positive, vaccine contraindicated. All live vaccines, because again it is an immunosuppressed state. CD4 count is low. If a person is asymptomatic, there is no contraindication. So which vaccine you can give? HIV positive without symptom. Which vaccine you can give? All vaccine. Whichever he requires, you can give any vaccine. But if he develops symptoms, that means CD4 count is now low. So all live vaccines are contraindicated, except if you're talking of adult. Which live vaccines can be given in HIV positive adult, although it is live? Yes, MMR, varicella, and zoster. Good. If it is a newborn who is HIV positive, symptoms or no symptoms do not make a difference. All live vaccines contraindicated except, yes, measles OPV, and in India BCG also is given. Now friends, I'm telling you one thing, please be very careful. A few years ago there was a question in the exam where they asked which vaccine is indicated in symptomatic HIV positive adult. So what should I mark? Which vaccine is indicated in symptomatic HIV positive? Indicated means we can give MMR, varicella zoster. Suppose MMR, varicella zoster is not in the choice. Suppose MMR, varicella zoster is not in the choice. Then yes, besides live, all other vaccines can be given. Killed, toxoid, cellular fraction, proteinaceous, all vaccines can be given, right? Okay. Immunosuppression. Which vaccines are contraindicated? Again, same reason, same answer. All live vaccines are contraindicated. Attenuated virus bacterium will feel like a complete virus bacterium. Lactation. Which vaccine is contraindicated is yellow fever vaccine because it is excreted in breast milk. It may lead to yellow fever in newborn who is already having a low immunity. Epilepsy. Which vaccine should be avoided? Pertussis. Not in the choice DPT because pertussis is not given alone. Cerebral palsy. Which vaccine is contraindicated is? There is no contraindication. Reason? What is the reason for this, friends? Yes, epilepsy is an active progressive neurological disorder. Cerebral palsy is a non-progressive neurological disorder. Okay, suppose they make you give you a clinical question. A child is a case of epilepsy. He was started on phenytoin, valproate. His epilepsy got controlled. He comes to your clinic. Which vaccine is contraindicated? There is no contraindication. So when we say epilepsy, DPT is a contraindication. It is active epilepsy. But question mentioned epilepsy controlled on medication like phenytoin, etc. Then it is like a non-progressive disease. You can safely give all vaccines, including DPT. Oh, another question. There is, okay, it will come later. Okay, we'll come to that. During epidemic, not during. Okay, during epidemic or post-disaster, which vaccines are contraindicated? All vaccines are contraindicated because vaccines have longer time to form immunity. Diseases have shorter incubation period. Only vaccine which can be used in its epidemic is measles. Very right. Good. What is the reason measles, why it is allowed during an epidemic or after a disaster? Measles incubation period is 10 to 14 days, whereas vaccine protection forms within 7 days, right? So only vaccine which can form protection faster than the natural incubation period of disease. Why not COVID? See, COVID also we thought let epidemic get over, then we will start immunization. But COVID did not get over. It kept on increasing. So finally, we had no option but to give the COVID vaccine. Otherwise, what is the rule? Do not give during an epidemic. You know, seasonal epidemics will again occur next season. Again, you will not be allowed to give the vaccine. So when you should give the vaccine? You cannot give during an epidemic. It should be given between two epidemics. So listen to what I'm saying. Vaccines are contraindicated intra-epidemically. Vaccines are given inter-epidemically between two epidemic waves. So vaccines are contraindicated intra. So when an epidemic is going on, do not give vaccination. Wait for epidemic to finish. How will we come to know epidemic has finished? Last case, twice the incubation period has passed. Now start immunizing the population. Now start immunizing the population so that they are ready before the next epidemic comes. Which level of prevention is this? Vaccine given inter-epidemic. All vaccines are only given when a risk factor is present. So we know next time disease will come in this season. So primary level specific protection. What is E in FI? What is E in FI? Effect nahi hai. This we discussed. Adverse, it's not effect. It is events. Adverse events. National Board is very fond of abbreviation questions. Adverse events following immunization. And what is generally the observation period? Yes, it is 30 minutes for all the vaccines in India. Paralysis can occur due to any vaccine. It is very rare. Which vaccine is most commonly associated with paralysis? OPV, IPV, both none. OPV, IPV, both none. It is only OPV. OPV means Salk or Sabin. OPV means Salk or Sabin. See, look at the chat box. 50% are saying Salk, 50% are saying Sabin. It is Sabin. Leads to two types: vaccine associated paralytic polio, vaccine derived poliovirus. Which is the most common cause of VAP? Which is the most common cause of VDPV? VAP is 90% cases due to P3, vaccine associated paralytic polio. Vaccine derived poliovirus, CP2, community subtype of poliovirus type 2. There are three subtypes: C, I, A. There is no M subtype. INICT question. So community, immunodeficient, ambiguous. Three types of subtypes of vaccine-derived poliovirus. Hypersensitivity allergic reaction. Any vaccine can cause. But commonest association has been clinically reported in India with which vaccine? It is hepatitis B. Shock. Vaccine which can result in shock is also same. Logically, allergic reaction, anaphylactic shock, both have to be same. Toxic shock syndrome. Yes, it is communicable. Measles. Suppose it is a multiple response answer. Can you tell me which other vaccines lead to toxic shock syndrome? Yes, Dr. Digitalis is right. All lyophilized vaccines. So measles, MR, MMR, any Japanese encephalitis, Haemophilus influenza B, any lyophilized vaccine, measles is most common. What is the underlying organism? Staph aureus. Guillain-Barré syndrome occurs after giving a vaccine. Vaccine responsible could be most likely killed influenza vaccine. Potential life-threatening complication of rotaviral vaccine. All these are your exam questions only, what we are discussing today. Yes, intersusception. So surgical intervention is required. Hypotensive, hyporesponsive episode. You give vaccine to a child, child suddenly loses all tone in the body. Hypotensive. Floppy infant. Vaccine is pertussis. It is a self-recovering condition. Persistent inconsolable crying. Same. Persistent inconsolable crying means, yes, your girlfriend has left you and you cry more than 3 hours. That is persistent inconsolable crying. Pertussis is the vaccine responsible. Suppose a child reports persistent inconsolable crying for more than 3 hours. What will you do in the next dose of DPT? Should DPT be given or should it not be given? 6 weeks DPT, child develops persistent inconsolable crying. Next dose, please remember this is an exam question. Pertussis is contraindicated strictly by Government of India. DT will be given as second dose, DT will be given as third dose, DT will always be given as booster. So if there is anaphylaxis, persistent inconsolable crying, shock, due to any dose of DPT, subsequent doses pertussis is removed. Pertussis is removed. Fever only when it is high grade. Otherwise, fever is not a problem. Fever is generally not a problem, but if it is high grade, yes. Acellular can be used. Acellular we are using nowadays. Definitely that can be used. But when question came, choices included like this: DPT, DT, right? Okay. Thrombocytopenia. No, you cannot give DPT. It's mentioned in the RCS document categorically. You cannot repeat DPT. Otherwise, chances of even a more severe reaction will be waiting. It is strictly contraindicated. It is given in PARC also. It's given in PARC also. Thrombocytopenia. Yes. MMRN hepatitis B. And I told you if they ask you thromboembolism, thrombotic phenomena. HHE you can continue. HHE you can continue. Yes, Covishield, thrombotic phenomena. Absolutely right. What is this? After exams, put your books in this and close it permanently. This is ice-lined refrigerator. Most important component of cold chain, where it is kept, how much electricity is required per day. Without electricity, how much time it can maintain the temperature. Good. It is kept at primary health center. Minimum 8 hours per day electricity is required. And without electricity, it can go up to 5 days to maintain the temperature of vaccine. What is the storage duration of vaccines in a ILR? Storage duration. Good, Dr. Yashri is right. At a primary health center, 30 days or 1 month is the storage duration. So all these are your exam questions we are discussing. If I look at the bottom of ice-lined refrigerator, which vaccine I can keep there? I should keep there. Bottom. Which vaccine requires temperature closest to 2 degree? That is OPV. So bottom we keep OPV and lyophilized vaccines. So BCG, measles, Japanese encephalitis. At the top you keep these vaccines are known as T series of vaccines. DPT, DT, TT and hepatitis B. DPT, DT, TT. In the top you can keep diluents. If I have to keep COVID vaccines, where should I keep COVID vaccines? Yes, roughly around here, middle, COVID. If I have to keep vitamin A, where should I keep vitamin A? Which part of ILR? Upper, middle, lower? This is how examiner confuses you. Vitamin A is not a vaccine. It's not kept in ILR. It is kept at room temperature. So in exam, do not rely on notes. Rely on your memory logic also, right? So please remember vitamin A is not a vaccine, not kept in ice-lined refrigerator. Even diluents you should keep outside, but before immunization, they should be brought to temperature 2 to 8. Sometime you can keep because you will not like to mix vaccine with a room temperature diluent. So diluent before immunization, we keep it in ice-lined refrigerator, right? Okay. What is this instrument known as? Dial thermometer. It is used to monitor temperature of cold chain in a ILR at primary health center. Two questions. What is the principle? What is the frequency of usage? Yes, it is based on thermocouple. So it is not based on mercury or batteries, lithium, cadmium. It is based on thermocouple. And yes, twice a day. Along with the video only, they generally upload the notes. Along with the video, you should find the notes. Twice a day. Identify the instrument, then I will ask you questions. Ice box. Beer bottles थोड़ा ले जानी है. Yes, this is vaccine carriers. So this is vaccine carrier. What is the time it can maintain temperature of all the vaccines? How many vaccine vials should be kept? Two questions. Yes, good. We have to store maximum 16 to 20 vials. And it can maintain the temperature of vaccines up to, yes, 12 to 24 hours. So can a team which has gone to subcenter to immunize keep the vaccine carrier at subcenter overnight? Question of your exam. Yes, it could be kept because minimum 12 to 24 hours. It can be brought back to PHC next day. And how does it maintain the temperature of vaccines? Because it is a non-electronic instrument. How does it maintain? Yes, it has four fully frozen ice pack. Smallest component of cold chain. Fully frozen ice pack. What is this level? If you see, there is a horizontal mark. What is this level representing? Yes, water filling level. Because it will expand on freezing. What should be added to water? Is nothing, plain tap water. What is the use of these holes? It is to keep the vials. Smallest component of cold chain, right? Okay. Ice pack, fully frozen ice pack. This is लिखा भी हुआ है open vial policy which permits certain vaccine vials to be reused if they are maintained in cold chain after opening up to a duration of 28 days. Which vaccines it is applicable? First we write that. Which vaccines it is applicable, friends? Open vial policy is applicable on T series of vaccines. So DPT, DT, TT, TD, Hep B. Is it applicable on OPV, IPV, both? None. Is it applicable on OPV, IPV? It is applicable on both. Applicable on pneumococcal conjugate vaccine, pentavalent vaccine, which includes Haemophilus influenza B also. Which vaccine it is not applicable is lyophilized. That is BCG, JE. Okay, yellow fever is not a part of immunization schedule, so that I'm avoiding. Measles, MR, MMR. What about COVID vaccine? COVID vaccine, is it applicable? Not applicable. Not applicable. Now, what about rotaviral vaccine? Only one student has answered correctly. It depends and depends on where exactly is the VVM present. If VVM is present on body, it is applicable. If VVM is present on cap, then it is not applicable, right? So VVM, if on the side of the vial, open vial policy is applicable for rotaviral vaccine. Actually, older lot is left. So they are trying to finish the older stock. Both are available in the country. So this answer will remain for maximum this year. You will clear the exam, then you will not have to remember. And if it is on cap, do not use again, right? Okay. So look at this. Both are rotaviral vaccine. Which of them is usable, which is not? Only one is usable in open vial policy, only two, both none. Which is usable is yes, two. Which is not usable is one. So if it is on cap, do not use the vaccine. If it is on side or the body of the vial, you are allowed to use the vaccine as per open vial policy, right? So please remember this. Okay. Vaccine strains. Quickly tell me, because this is purely an answer based question. Okay, if nothing is mentioned, what should I mark? If nothing is mentioned, then open vial policy is not applicable. Is not applicable, right? BCG strain is Danish 1331. It is derived from, and how long it takes to produce? Two questions are asked. Yes, it is derived from Mycobacterium bovis. It takes 13 years for production. Also, one more strain of BCG came as a choice in the paper. One more strain of BCG, Copenhagen strain. Very right. OPV. What are the strains in OPV? P1 only, P2 only, P3 only, P1 and 2, 1 and 3, 2 and 3, all 3. Yes, P1, P3. What about IPV of India? All 3 are there. Good. P1, P2, P3. This is likely to be asked in the upcoming examination. You have to mark correctly. Measles, Edmonston Zagreb. We also have Shore strain, Moreton strain, but Edmonston Zagreb, you have to remember, is used in India. Mumps is prepared from Gerillin, Rubella. Complete with number I need, because question came like this. Yes, Dr. Himanshu is right. RA 27/3. Good. Yellow fever is produced from 17D. What is D? Yes, this is antigen units measured as Dakar antigen units. Varicella, Oka strain. Do we have a zoster vaccine? Yes, we discussed. What is the strain of zoster vaccine? It has to be same. Japanese encephalitis live vaccine is used in India. Which strain is used in the program? Very right. SA 14-14-2. SA 14-14-2. Right. Rabies vaccine is prepared from. Question was street viral strain, fixed viral strain, either of the above, none of the above. Street, fixed, both, none. It is only from fixed viral. See, street virus is pathogenic. It has negri bodies. It cannot be used for production of a vaccine. Fixed viral strain is non-pathogenic, no negri antibody, no negri bodies. Typhoral, TY21A. Mosquirisk. I'm presuming all of you are not looking at notes, because these are easy things. Our memory will help us in the exam. Yes, it is RTS, S, AS01. Covaxin, only major COVID vaccine which has a strain more likely of being asked in the paper this time. What is the strain from which Covaxin has been prepared? Very right. Dr. Himanshu has given complete answer. NIV 2020-770. Correct. Right. So go through this list once. Many are there. Dukoral, Sancol. Many are there for cholera also. Okay. What is specific to vitamin A administration, which is not a vaccine given by oral route, is this plastic white colored spoon? So what is unique feature? Yes, it is given along with measles. What is the unique feature of this spoon is? It is having an outer margin and there is a horizontal inner mark. So it is a 2 ml spoon. Generally what we have in our household level is 5 ml spoon. Here inner mark is 1 ml, outer margin is 2 ml. 1 ml is equal to 1 lakh. International units, UPSC question. So health worker knows if a child comes at 9 months, inner mark. If a child comes after 1 year, every time we give 2 ml. So by 5 years, how many ml will go inside the body of the child? By 5 years, a total of 17 ml equal to 17 lakh international units. What is such type of apparatus known as, which can be used by a semi-literate health worker also, who doesn't know 1 lakh, 2 lakh, but she knows half teaspoon, full teaspoon. Not appropriate technology. Appropriate is when you have something expensive to compare with. This is known as field instrument, which can be used by anyone, even a non-medico in the field. Like, what is the field instrument for mid-arm circumference of children? What is the field instrument for mid-arm circumference? Shakir tape. So even a health worker doesn't know what is 11.5 centimeter. She knows green, yellow, red. So she knows where to send the child. That is field instrument. This is the global switch program, applicable for OPV, IPV, both none. OPV, you can see 2 drops of polio. So trivalent was switched to bivalent. April 2016, all countries of the world. India switched on 25th April, National Switch Day. National Validation Day, after 2 weeks, 9th of May. Anyone, what is National Validation Day? What is the meaning of National Validation Day? Yes, all this stock was destroyed simultaneously. Why was it switched from trivalent to bivalent? What was the reason? Polio virus type 2 was eradicated from this world. I am not saying polio disease. Only one type of polio virus, P2, was eradicated on 20th September 2015. 2015. Yes. One thing you should know, if child is malnourished, dose cannot exceed more than 1 lakh for vitamin A. We are talking of treatment, please remember. We are talking mainly of treatment, right? So if a child is malnourished, dose of vitamin A should not extend beyond 1 lakh because there is a chance of vitamin A toxicity. So 20th September 2015, P2 was eradicated. Subsequently, any more polio virus has been eradicated after P2. Even P3 has been eradicated. But polio disease is not eradicated. Polio virus 1 is left. And where is polio virus 1 is left in the world? 2 countries still endemic for polio on this planet is Pakistan, Afghanistan. Few cases have re-emerged in African countries during COVID time. But 2 countries still endemic for polio are Pakistan, Afghanistan. So if they show you a world map, 2 countries in color, that is, they are talking of polio. This is मिशन इंद्रधनुष. Which vaccines? Nigeria में अब नहीं है. Yes, initially it covered Indradhanush, 7 colors of rainbow, 7 vaccine preventable diseases. So we had BCG, OPV, DPT, measles and Hep B. Then 4 more vaccines were added to the program. Japanese encephalitis, IPV, rotaviral, MR. Then 2 more have been added. What are the 2 latest added? Yes, Haemophilus influenza B and pneumococcal conjugate vaccine. So a total of, if you see carefully, 13 vaccines are covered under Mission Indradhanush, not 7. 13 vaccines which give a coverage against 12 diseases. Mission Indradhanush. Main purpose of Mission Indradhanush is 100% immunization coverage. And how are we going to achieve this? How Mission Indradhanush is carried out, anyone? Originally was 2020. So we are carrying out a round every year. How are we trying to cover Mission Indradhanush? Dr. Astha is right, by catch-up campaigns. What is the meaning of catch-up campaign, anyone? What is the meaning of this? Yes, every child is given these vaccines if he fits into the age group, irrespective of the previous immunization status. You don't even have to check the immunization card, you don't have to take the history. Each and every child of the country has to be given these doses. You can say additional over and above national immunization schedule. Which level of prevention is this mission Indradhanush? Level of prevention. All vaccines are primary. First, what is shown in this image is known as vaccine vial monitor. Second question, what does it tell you? It is a marker of. Can I say efficacy, viability, potency, expiry? Efficacy, viability, potency, expiry. No. Best answer is cold chain maintenance. If best answer is not given, then it is an indirect marker of potency, but not expiry, efficacy, or any other thing. Cumulative heat exposure, it tells you whether a vaccine has been exposed to it or not. If I tell them as A, B, C, D, arrange them in correct sequence. What should I mark? Yes, this is grade 1. Inner square remains white. If vaccine temperature is not properly maintained, inner square grade 2 will become light blue. Grade 3 it becomes exactly blue. Grade 4 it becomes purple or black. Which grades are usable? Older question. 1 only, 1 and 2 only, 1, 2 and 3 only. Only 1 and 3 and 4 should be discarded. Listen to a statement. Based on VVM, a vaccine vial is usable if inner square is lighter than the outer circle. True, false? Inner square is lighter than the outer circle, use the vaccine. True. Which chemical is used in VVM? Which chemical is used to make the sticker of VVM? P-toluene sulfonate, PTS. Nowadays we use diacetylenes more. INICT level question. VVM is of 4 types. VVM 30, 14, 7 and 2. 4 types of VVM. They have given numbers. This is based on vaccine stability. 30 is for high stability vaccines. And 2 is for low stability vaccines. Low stability. See, we are talking of this when we say of stability, this is thermostability, heat, right? So BCG, OPV. We use VVM2, and more stable vaccines are vaccines like hepatitis B and pentavalent. We use VVM 30. So as the number increase, thermostability of vaccine increase. So most thermostable. 5 has started. Intensified mission Indradhanush 5.0 has started. But आपके एग्जामिनर को पता नहीं होगा तो no need to worry. So this is grade 2 and grade 30. No, not disrespecting the examiner, but usually examiner, when they have to make a question, they have to give reference from a textbook. Nowadays, the reference from the textbook has to be given, and your textbooks are not updated. Therefore, latest questions are less likely to be asked. Right? Mosquirisk, only licensed malaria vaccine in the world. Can you tell me this is prepared from which 2 components? INICT level question. Yes, circumsporozoite protein of Plasmodium falciparum. Dr. Meteor has given correct answer. Envelope protein of hepatitis B, surface antigen. I'll repeat. Only licensed malaria vaccine in the world, which was available in Africa till now, Mosquirisk. circumsporozoid protein of Plasmodium falciparum, envelope protein of hepatitis B surface antigen. So this is a unique thing. Malaria vaccine production by using surface antigen of hepatitis B. Questions are prepared by faculty only. Government college, government medical colleges faculty, mostly from tier 1 cities of India like Delhi, Mumbai, Hyderabad. COVID vaccines. If you look at common thing, let's look at common things first. Is their dose, route and site. So Covishield as well as Covaxin, 0.5 ml intramuscular deltoid. Quickly, first tell me about Covishield, Covaxin. You can write in the same place in the chat box. I'm reading all your answers. Which type of vaccine is Covishield? Which is Covaxin? You can write short forms also. I'll understand if you know the answer. Covishield is which type? Do you prepare the question paper? No, I don't, yaar. फिर तो इतनी जरूरत ही नहीं है. फिर एक प्राइवेट सेशन करके I'll give you all the questions and charge a good amount. Okay, type Covishield is Covaxin is killed. 100% whole virion inactivated. Covishield. Yes, non-replicating viral vector based. Which was the first viral vector based vaccine of the world? Which was actually used? Was Ebola. Covishield, Oxford, it is based on Oxford AstraZeneca. It became the second. It became the second. Gap of vaccine doses for Covishield and Covaxin. Yes, 12 to 16 weeks here, 4 to 6 weeks for Covaxin. Manufactured by, this is Bharat Biotech, this is Serum Institute. Pregnancy lactation, can COVID vaccines be given? In pregnancy lactation, COVID vaccines are not contraindicated. They have to be given. Age groups are different, slightly different. What is the difference in age group of Covishield, Covaxin, friend? Because cold chain is same for all the vaccines of India, 2 to 8. Age group is above 18 years in Covishield, 15 years and above in Covaxin. But what is the lowest age at which a vaccine is given COVID in India? What is the lowest age till which you can administer a COVID vaccine? Is 12 years. So what will you give to 12-year-old? You're absolutely right, all of you. Dr. Shweta, Dr. Amit, Dr. Aarti Verma, Dr. Sandeep, Dr. Himanshu. We will give Corbevax. So this is given in age 12 to 14 years. You answer 2-3 questions. Type of vaccine, manufacturer, and USP. It is receptor binding domain. Receptor binding domain, proteinaceous subunit vaccine. It has been prepared for by Biological E Limited Hyderabad. Biological E Limited Hyderabad. Again, 2 doses, 0.5 ml each, intramuscular, gap 4 weeks in deltoid. Unique feature of this vaccine, which no other vaccine can claim. It is the only vaccine which is permitted. Yes, Dr. Hiyashi is right. Dr. Meteor is right. Heterologous booster dose. So if someone has taken Covishield or Covaxin earlier, they can take a booster dose of Corbevax. Incovac. What is unique feature of Incovac? First, intranasal vaccine. What is another unique feature? Yes, 100% indigenous vaccine of India. Any other vaccine of India which is 100% indigenous? Indigenous means all parts produced in India is Covaxin. So NIV 2020 770 is also 100% indigenous. Incovac, what is the dose? 2 doses, 1 month apart. One dose is equal to 8 drops. 2 in right nostril of National Board and 2 in left nostril. 4 in right nostril, 4 in left nostril. Right? That is Incovac. Incovac is which type of vaccine, anyone? Yes, again, non-replicating viral vector-based vaccine produced by Bharat Biotech. Bharat Biotech. Okay, rabies vaccine, examiner's favorite topic. Tell me the regimen first. SN regimen, which is intramuscular. What will you write on the prescription sheet of the patient? Intramuscular. Very right. 1 dash 1 dash 1 dash 1. 0, 3, 7, 14, 28. Intradermal. 22202. 037 and 28 directly. What is day 0? Day of bite, day of starting vaccination. What is day 0? Day of bite, day of starting vaccination. It is day of starting vaccination. If a person comes after 5 days of bite, you cannot say, I will not give you day 0 and 3. So day 0 is day of starting vaccination. Think logically in the paper. Now, rabies vaccine is which level of prevention? Rabies vaccine is which level of prevention? It is primary level. Can rabies spread through consumption of unboiled milk of a rabid animal? Answer is yes. First case occurred in India last week from Noida. Although it should have been specified by Government of India, how they have proved it, right? Some epidemiological study should have been done, but first case was reported. I asked a question from the students. Surprisingly, 99% students marked wrong answer. If unboiled milk is a route of transmission of rabies, which category of bite is this? I've shared on social media and Instagram. I share all the latest news which will not come in your exam. So category 1 bite, category 2 bite, or category 3? Again, 95% of you are marking wrong answer. This is category 1 bite. Please remember according to WHO CDC guidelines. So category 1 में आता है. It is not कि mucosa है या नहीं है. Unboiled milk consumption has been taken as category 1 bite for rabies exposure. Please remember. Rabies immunoglobulin. Human equine, what is the dose? Which is better? Human equine, what is the dose and which is better? Yes, very right. It is 20 and 40, 20 international units per kilogram and 40 international units per kilogram. Where it should be given? Human is better, of course. Infiltrated 100% around the wound site. If after infiltration, by chance, something is left in the syringe, Dr. Arora is right. Give intramuscular leftover in the opposite deltoid. Can you tell me for wound management, which of them is correct? Wash with soap and water for minimum 5 to 10 minutes. Use local antiseptics. Suture to close the wound. Which of them is correct? 1 only, 2 only, 3 only, 1 and 2, 2 and 3. Which is correct? Which is correct? Okay, sorry, I missed your name because it's going very fast. Only 2 students answered correctly. This is surprising because this has been coming in every paper of yours. All three statements, can I say are wrong? Can I say all three statements are wrong? No. Which statement is correct? Is only statement number 2. Suturing is not done. And washing with soap and water is minimum 15 to 20 minutes according to Indian program. Right? Then it will become correct. Loose sutures only when there are very big wounds. Otherwise, person will die due to bleeding and shock. And if you have to give 1 to 2 loose sutures, local anti-serum cover should be used. If immunoglobulin received earlier, it should not be given again. True, false. Fourth statement. This is a true statement. Fifth, suppose they give you a statement. Okay, there was a question rather. Which antibiotic should be given to these patients? You have to give antibiotic coverage. So all dentists, all ENT specialists non-stop use amoxicillin clavulanic acid combination without telling the patients that it lead to side by side a very good diarrhea, right? So amoxicillin clavulanic acid is the recommended antibiotic of choice by the WHO CDC guidelines. It has to be given. Should we give tetanus to such patients? Tetanus toxoid. Yes, suturing if required should be done. Generally, it's not done. Yes, tetanus toxoid should be given, not can be given, should be given to all patients along with rabies vaccination. HPV vaccine. Can you tell me? Three are there in front of you. Cervarix, Gardasil, and Gardasil 9. Which of them is bivalent? It is Cervarix, bivalent. Gardasil is quadri, and this is nonavalent. So, can you quickly? We are just about to finish. Therefore, I just 5 more minutes. I think we'll go for a break. Bivalent is, let's complete this topic. HPV, most common cause of cervical cancer in our country, 1618. What is the second most common cause after 1618? 611. After 1618, 611, what is the third most common cause is 3133. Then they have also included 45, 50 to 58. India is going to launch Sarvavac in National Immunization Schedule this year. It is going to be a quadrivalent vaccine. Which age group it should be given? HPV vaccines, what is the recommended age group? Recommended age group. Dr. Asta has answered correctly, 9 to 26 years. Private gynecologist obstetrician will say you can take at any age, which is not correct. Only useful if taken till 26 years of age, right? SAGE criteria was asked in INICT, Strategic Advisory Group of Experts on Immunization. 9 to 14 years, generally they say, if a person is 9 to 14 years, then 1 to 2 doses, 15 to 20 also 1 to 2 doses. But once a girl woman becomes 21 years and above, a single dose, sorry, 2 doses are required, and 3 doses in a person is immunocompromised like HIV. Now, when we look at Sarvavac, suppose they ask you for Sarvavac this time. What is the guideline for Sarvavac when it is going to come in the national immunization schedule? Please remember, Government of India is saying for 9 to 14 years, we are going to give 2 doses. And for 15 to 26 years, we are going to give all the 3 doses. Which level of prevention is this? 1 All vaccines are primary. INI-CT question. Let's see how many of us remember. Which is the major targeted protein gene by HPV vaccine? Single answer. Good. Many of us mark correctly. L1 gene. So gene protein L1, L is late. Late gene 1 is targeted for producing immunity. Good. Very nice. And finally, who are these two Bollywood heroes in front of you? First one is Edward Jenner, person who is credited with development of first vaccine and term vaccination. Which was the vaccine? Smallpox. Louis Pasteur. Yes, germ theory of disease, pasteurization, and in terms of immunization, he gave the term vaccine. Right? He also developed rabies and anthrax vaccines later. Louis Pasteur died in France. You have to remember his death occurred in France. Right, friends? So thank you for sitting for such a long session. 8:43. So when are we coming back from our dinner? They've asked the year, not year. They've asked the place, so we have to remember. Okay, you are saying 9:15. Let's make it 9:20 so that easily everyone can have their dinner. So we will restart at 9:20. Continue for another, I think, 2.5 hours. And as much as we can do today. Today is the intensive day. Tomorrow only biostats will be intensive. What all will be covering. Today we will be covering screening of disease, preventive op speeds also we will try to cover. If time permits, then sociology, small chapters are also there. Break will be for next half an hour minimum, let us say. So 9:20 will come back. Okay, go for a break, otherwise time will be even lesser. Right? Okay.